Well, it's that time again. It's the feature that the world is saying could rival Monkey News one day. Ready?
Oh, what's he written today?
Well, Carl's diary. You didn't explain what it was. Sunday, got up. Sunny day, so went for a walk in the park. There was a bloke walking down the street who was whistling some kind of annoying tune. He seemed quite happy with himself. Do people only whistle when they're happy? I don't whistle very much.
It's a good point. Whistling is so inane to me. But yeah, it's sort of like going, I'm content. It really is that thing that if they go, you go, well, Mr. Mellors, I'm afraid we've got some bad news. Not only has your wife died, but you've lost the house. Thanks, Doctor.
Wouldn't happen, would it?
No, you don't
right,
whistle when
Yeah.
you're sad. The other place you hear it, of course, is changing rooms. And that's men going, I'm whistling, so I'm not looking at your cock. How could I be? I'm concentrating on whistling.
The lake was frozen over where I was walking. The ducks looked worried. They were sat on the edge of the lake waiting for it to melt. Were they, Carl?
Yeah, we just sat there looking, sort of going, oh, what's going on? I don't know. How long is a duck's memory? Because I wondered whether they're going, this doesn't seem right, but I don't know why.
I asked Suzanne why ducks don't use their wings much. They seem to walk and swim more and don't bother using their wings. Suzanne said she had to call her mum and dad, so I never got an answer.
The old excuse. Yeah. Suzanne, oh, I can't talk now, Carl.
Gotta phone my mum. There was a marathon-type run going on in the park. It reminded me of the time when we were moving flat. It was the day of the London Marathon. Me and Suzanne were walking down the middle of the road, taking some stuff to our new flat. I was carrying a lamp and a kitchen bin. People were clapping me, thinking I was doing some kind of fun run.
Why were you walking on the same route?
Because it was when we lived on the Docklands.
Oh, brilliant.
There was no other route. The flat was just about 100 yards down the road.
They're going, look at the bloke with the bald wig. He's carrying a lamp and a bin.
Took a bag of old clothes to Oxfam. It was just old T-shirts and a couple of jumpers with holes in it. I don't think anyone will buy them, but the Oxfam is closer to the flat than the wheelie bin is. On the tube on the way back home, saw an advert for a book about a woman who works in a funeral home. She went into work one day, she goes to work on a body, she takes the sheet off of one of the bodies, and it looks exactly like her. This is called a doppelganger.
What's a doppelganger to you?
It's the thing I read about him ages ago where someone was walking down the street.
Yeah, and he sees someone who looked a bit like him.
And no, this was weirder than that.
Go on.
He remembers, like, going down that street as a kid on his bike, whistling.
Yeah.
And then he's walking down the street, going to get some milk or whatever from the shop. Little bike comes whizzing past. he hears the whistling. He goes, that's weird. Looks at it. It was him when he was a kid. So it's like a time.
Shit. What do you mean it was him as a kid?
This is like a different form of doppelganger. It's just
Well, it's impossible. It's rubbish.
some sort of time thing, isn't it?
No,
It's
it's
time,
but that's
sort of-
impossible. So don't
It's
worry
just some
about
kind
it.
of time thing, Rick. No.
Yeah, it's
just
something
some
you
kind of time
read
thing.
again on the internet, or it was a short story, or something someone told you.
On my walk back from the tube, I saw a jogger who was pushing a pram at the same time. The kid looked terrified. Got my science book out. It said that the static you get on the telly when a channel isn't tuned in properly is radiation that is still knocking about from when the Big Bang happened. I thought about the Big Bang and wondered if it was really a Big Bang or did it just sound louder as there was no other noise to drown it out.
Good point, isn't it?
Carl's diary, Rick, never ceases to amaze.
Oh, well, it's that time now. Yeah? It's the big one.
Oh, chimpanzee, that monkey news!
Right, there was this
Monkey?
this fella, right, who he had a problem with his eyes, right?
Yeah.
So he goes to the doctors and he goes, oh, I've got a problem with my eyes. And he goes, yeah, they bad them, right? He goes, it was in America, you know, like how you have to pay for medical stuff and all that. And the doctor said, oh, if I fix them, it's going to be like 10 grand, right? He's like, but I haven't got the money, doctor. He goes, well, I can't help you then. You know, there's a lot of people with bad eyes like them. Can't do anything for you. So he goes, oh, it's getting worse. I can't do anything. So anyway, so he goes home.
Is that the price of human eyes, is it?
So he goes home, he's looking in the paper, right? And he sort of sees in the adverts at the back. And there's a little advert there saying cheap doctors, right?
No, bollocks.
Oh, no.
No.
So he's thinking, oh, maybe that's what I need, right? So he calls them up. Woman's there. She's like, wait, what can I do? He goes, I've got bad eyes and that. She says, oh, come in tomorrow, we'll sort them out. She's like, brilliant, I'll see you then. Right? So he goes down there and he says, right, you know, I can hardly see. My eyes have got in really bad state and what have you.
Right.
Need to have them sorted out. I don't know what you do, whatever you do,
Right.
I need
Now,
doing.
his eyes are so bad, can he see the doctors? He can...
Not really,
Can't
sort
really-
of
he's
squinting
squinting.
and that, but you know, so he's like, do I need to see the doctor to, you know, have a word and tell him what problems? She's like, no, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about
just,
it.
No, I'd be comfortable if it's a...
just you know, just let me inject you and we'll knock you out and we'll get on with it. And
on
it's
with
like,
it, get the
well,
doctor
it's-
in.
Can I just tell you something about chimps as well, just before you continue?
Go on.
You know, they don't have opposable thumbs.
Now,
which is
why
what-
are opposable thumbs useful, Rick?
Well, to grip something, to do anything like, you know, even simple stuff like writing, so let alone surgery. So without an
But
opposable
can I just check
thumb-
now?
Go
So
on.
if I was a doctor and I was doing any form of difficult surgery, would I need opposable thumbs?
You'd need opposable thumbs
To be a doctor,
and
okay,
without
fine.
you couldn't do anything. You could.
thanks for clearing that up.
Because the opposable thumb allowed something in our evolution called the precision grip.
Right.
So without that, you couldn't do anything.
I'm just glad they've got that cleared up, thanks.
So anyway, so he's had the injection, he's nodding off and what have you, right? His eyes are sort of closing and that. He hears the door open, he sort of just sees this little fella coming in and he's like, hello, doctor. And he's trying to, like, make a chat with it.
Sure.
But, like, he's just
It?
nodding off. No, just...
Oh, he's
he
never
or
called
she,
a doctor.
was it he or she?
These people have done 7 years medical
Deeply
training.
respected people.
How could you call it it?
So anyway, he thought, oh, it's weird he didn't answer, but, you know, doctors can be quite moody, you know, they're highly intelligent, they don't need...
Especially little airy ones.
Well, just idle chit-chat. There's no room for that, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm here
Yeah,
to do a job.
yeah, but you know, if I'm going in to have my eyes done, I want a little bit of idle chimp chat.
So anyway, time passes, right? He sort of wakes up and he opens his eyes, right? And it's brilliant. He can't believe it.
Eyes are perfect?
He's had the op. He can't believe the sight. He's like, nurse, right? And the nurse comes in because I can't believe it. This is brilliant. I've never had this such good sight. Do you know what I mean? Even when I was a baby,
Yeah.
and my eyes were new,
Yeah.
I didn't see this good.
Great.
So she's like, well, you know, that's
You
what,
realise the nurse is a panda.
that's what we do, right? So he said, right, so can I just see the doctor and just say thanks and that? She's like, well, to be honest, you know, he's specialised in what he does. There's a lot of
What
work.
a load of bollocks this is getting.
Please.
Where did you get this from?
No, come on, let's hear the end of the news.
There's a lot of like operations he's got to do.
Yeah.
So you know, leave him to it. He's just having a kid. You know, I'll let him know that you were grateful. You know, pay us a check. Off you go. Go and enjoy looking at stuff.
Yeah.
So he said, no, I just what's wrong with that? I just want to see that. She's
No,
like,
that's
no,
fine.
leave it. Just leave.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it. If
And
he
he's
says,
like,
"Take
yeah,
check."
but I can't. You know, I want to thank him. He's done such a good thing for me. So they're getting into a bit of an argument and what have you, and the voices are raising, right? Door opens.
Gonna wake the doctor up.
Well, that's what they did. They woke it up, right?
They woke it up.
It?
So the door opens, right? Little monkey comes out, and he's like, "What's going on here? It's a hospital. Why is there a monkey knocking about?"
Yeah.
So the woman said, "Well, what do you mean? He's the doctor." Right? So he's like, "You are having a laugh, aren't you?" She goes, "Look, don't complain. Your eyes are sorted.
Yeah.
You know, the doctor's done it. What's the problem?" He said, "Well, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have come here." She said, "Well, what do you mean you didn't know that?" She said, "The advert in the paper you read, it's like chimp doctors."
That is the biggest load of shit I've ever heard. That really is the worst.
What? And because his eyes were so bad, he thought it said cheap doctors.
He saw the advert and it said chimp doctors, but because his eyes were bad, he just saw it.
What journal is this in?
It was years ago, because it sort of says how the monkey sort of carried on working for a few years. He couldn't do anything
Then
about
just
it. He had to
retired to
leave
play
it.
golf.
It's absolute bollocks.
It's
There's
right.
no way. I mean, it's not even worth talking about. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's the most ridiculous monkey news we've ever heard, and that's saying something.
Chimp doctors, cheap. It's easy mistake.
With Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant and Karl Pilkington in particular returning to our screens for the second series of An Idiot Abroad, we asked the guys whether fame has changed. Karl.
Nothing's changed here, apart from car insurance going up and just being able to get a bargain in a shop. You want to knock the price down, you can't do that once you're sort of known. People go, "You made of money." I'm not. You can use this, that's the exclusives for you. I'm not made of money. Doing all right, I'm not moaning. I know people are having it tough.
You are moaning, you're moaning all the time.
I'm not
you never
moaning.
stop moaning, that's what you do. You only moan, that's your job. That's why this show's so good.
Well, you say you
That's what
can't
do.
get a bargain. How much were those trainers?
Oh, 45 pence.
45 pence.
In
Right,
Africa.
In Africa.
That's what he gave.
But look
that's
how
what he
far he had
gave
to
to
go.
someone who was selling some trainers in Africa.
Could have given them 50p.
He was over the moon with that.
So I'm pretty sure they said he hasn't changed much, but what if it all goes wrong? Has Karl got a contingency plan?
I know I'll survive, because now, if I'm homeless, anything that's crawling about, I'll have it.
Lovely. Well, at least we know he'll always be okay.
Hi, I'm Ricky Gervais, with me Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And the little round-headed buffoon, that is Karl Pilkington. We're here to ask you to donate generously to Comic Relief. Karl, thoughts? Good cause?
I don't want to put it down, but no, it's just every year. If I was watching this at home, it's kind of like, here we go again. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
If you want to give. If my dad's watching this at home now, he'll go home. It's not tonight, is it? He hates tonight. My mum gets annoyed because EastEnders isn't on. It changes the schedule. I don't like it when I see, JLS sat in a tub of beans going, "Call up." Makes no difference. I've made my mind up. It annoys me that they're sat in beans. There's people going hungry across the world. They're sat in God knows how many tins that is. It just seems a waste.
Right. But you think the cause is a good one?
But it's every year. So I think people sort of go, "Oh, not again." How many times, if you had a mate who kept saying to you, "You couldn't lend us a tenner, could you?" How many times do you go, "Right, okay, this is the last time. We keep giving you money every year."
Right.
And each year you come back again with your hand out. How long are we going to keep doing this?
That's what you feel about Richard Curtis, who's behind Comic Relief.
Well, Richard Curtis, I never see him doing the bad stuff. He's never out there, is he? He gets all his mates to do it. Look at this I've arranged. Meanwhile, he's at home. I've never seen him in the thick of it.
No.
Lenny Henry, he's out there all the time.
Yeah.
He's good. But Curtis, I bet people at home watching this haven't got a clue about Richard Curtis.
And yet he's the one who's going to get the knighted.
Is he?
Well,
Definitely.
Inevitably, yeah.
Definitely. I'd love it to mean something these days. I go, "Well, you've made a Knight of the Realm." And he goes, "Oh, brilliant." And I go, "Right, here's the suit of armour. Get on that horse. We're fighting the French." Let's see his face then.
Straight back onto Lenny Henry again.
I feel that Karl's perhaps been a bit negative about Comic Relief. Can you give us your appeal for people to contribute to Comic Relief?
I just wish they'd focus on one charity. Just one thing a year. They go, "This year, we're going to sort that out. And once we've raised money for that thing, we're not going to be knocking on your door again saying, 'We want some more.'"
Okay.
That is it.
What should we do? What charity do you want to solve? Everyone sends the money.
Well, just something important. In the paper the other day, they'd raised money for a pair of slippers for an elephant.
Right,
Now,
why?
I love elephants,
Yeah.
but it annoyed me. This picture there, 500 quid it was for a pair of slippers. Why?
Because he doesn't want to stomp around the house in his shoes.
We can't say that.
Exactly. You know, and sometimes he wears them over to the newsagent.
You shouldn't go out in slippers. They're for shoes in the house. Right. And then that's what happens. It will nip out with them on. Then next year, the elephant needs slippers again. And out again. In the street, there's always people. London is a nightmare. Honestly, you'd
What, the
nip
people
out.
with the clipboard?
Yeah, you couldn't avoid them. You cross the road, there's another one there. What am I going to do? I mean, a lot of the time, I think it's harder if you're a woman, a young woman, because the bloke's got them things on, Greenpeace or whatever, deafkids.com, and they normally approach young women and they use it as a bit of a chatting up thing. You know, look at me, I'm a good bloke, doing a bit for charity. It's always with a good-looking woman, not like some toad-looking woman. He's always a good looker. Now, why is that? There's no evidence that says a good-looking woman's got more money.
If you're watching this and you haven't been stopped regularly to give charity, you probably look like a toad.
Red Cross, they've got more out of me. They keep calling up now they've got my number. Whenever there's a problem in the world, that phone isn't for me anymore. It's no use for me. It's just like the sort of Mother Teresa line. She's dead, who else can help us? Well, we've got Carl's number, give him a call. He's got a few quid. Honestly, that's how it seems every time. But I've told you, help the aged. You sign up, you give them your bank details. You're going to be looking after Edna. And they give you a little picture of Edna. She's sat there with one of those sort of pennies on. It tells you what it's going towards. Pay you £10. That will go towards keeping Edna warm, right? Get another pack, about a month later, open it up, there's Edna, she's got a tan. So that's what they're doing with the money, not just keeping her warm, popping the gas on, sending her away on holiday. If they sent me a letter saying Edna's going on holiday, I'm not putting money towards that, I'm paying for a gas bill. And that's what puts you off charity. The more you find out, the more you sort of turn against it.
So you're saying it could be a con?
Well, you do have to be careful with a lot of charities. Yeah, I'm sure this one's legit and money's going to the right places. But you never know.
Now, I understand the cynicism. It's a drop in the ocean. It doesn't solve anything. It's people showing off on telly, right? Trying to get a bit of kudos, whatever, right? But what is nice is the ordinary people who do give so generously, and they're moved, and they might not have a lot of money themselves. Even people on welfare benefit, they're on the dole, or they haven't worked, they hand over a fiver to someone. Isn't that heartwarming?
People on the dole hand over money?
Yeah.
Well, that's easier. That's not their money to give away, is it? No, it is. You give me some of your money, I'll give it away. That's easy. It's when you've been working all week, got a boss moaning in your ear. Quick, we've got to get this done. Can I have holiday? No, you can't. We've got a deadline to meet. But I've booked holiday now. My wife wants to go away. We've got a big order on plumbing supplies.
What's the order coming in?
It's a big order from abroad.
What do they want?
Extra U-bends.
Oh, come on, how many U-bends do
No,
we
we need to get it done.
But it's
Get
Friday.
back to work, right? Now, you need a holiday more than anyone. If they're on the dole, they're not stressed out. It's not their money. I can give money away that isn't mine.
Carl, what do you make of Comic Relief Night itself? Do you watch? Does it make you laugh?
I just feel like it goes on too long. You know, and they keep saying, this is the figure, we're after. Let's beat last year's. Well, no, let's not. Let's not beat last year's.
Okay.
Because then next year you'll want even more. I said, let's have a bit of a lull. An all-time low this year. Let's try and do that. So next year it's easier to crack. I've always thought that. It's tricky, this, because it does look like I'm having a go.
No.
All I'm saying is, if you haven't got that much money, the money you have got, you spend wisely. Over in Africa, you've got the all-time high, 50 million. Well, let's go mental. No, let's not go mental. Just give them a few million, see how they get on.
Right. Give generously, but not too generously, because tonight we want an all-time low.
Thank you. All right, Australia, how's it going? Just letting you know that I've got a DVD out right now. It's out now, available to buy. It's called The Moaning of Life. And it's me travelling about the world, sort of trying to work out life's big questions. Stuff like marriage, and is it all worth it? What's the point? Kids, why do people have them? Happiness, how are you meant to get it? Death, what you're worried about? It's those sort of questions. So they wanted me to sort of reference Australia a lot, to sort of make it seem like I've gone out of my way to do something special for you, but I don't know much about the place. What else did they say about you? That's always confused me. They say that you're down under. Australia, are you going down under? The way I look at it is, the world is floating about in nothing, isn't it? It's just in the universe. So who's decided that you are down under? Makes you think, doesn't it? How do you know? How do you know that you're down under? You could be up over. You could be right at the top. Because if you think about it, it's hot where you are, which means, you know, if you think about it, heat rises, doesn't it? So if heat rises, you're at the top. So it's up. It should be up over. You're coming up over, not down under. Just a thought. I've had that thought for ages. I had no one to tell, but now I'm talking to Australians. I just thought I'd run it by you. But it's thoughts like that that are on this DVD. Life's big issues. You know, is it up over? Is it down under? It's just a question, isn't it? I'm running out of ideas to try and sort of theme this around Australia. I just, you know, at the end of the day, I've got a DVD out. The Moaning of Life. It's out now. Look out for it. And this is what we need to do. We need to get out there and say, this is how it works. Educate them.
Okay, so let's do this then. So it's just with the seeds. You're not giving them a... so I'm a starving African. Hello, Carl. Have you got any food? Got any food? Got any sandwiches?
Well, I
starving.
have, but if I give you my sandwich, there's someone else behind you, and they'll all come out.
So what are you going to do then? What are you going to do?
I'm going to help you.
How? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna make you think about how to make food.
Oh, okay, right.
Have you ever grown anything before?
No.
Right, well, here's some seeds for potatoes.
Brilliant. Oh, thanks, Carl. See you later. Do I just put them in the ground, yeah?
Put them in the ground and water them.
Oh, there's no water, you dopey cunt.
There is some
No,
water.
there's no water, you dopey cunt. That's why we're starving, you dopey cunt.
Right, well, at that point, that's where I go, well, this is a lost cause here.
Right.
There's no point.
Can I have your sandwich
then,
after all?
No,
or
you're
what?
not having it. You're
right,
not having it now.
so not only can I have a sandwich, you give me seeds with no water, you useless, bald-headed fucking twonk.
Right, but there's got to be another way around this.
Go on, then.
Either move...
Right.
Because every year they're going to be queuing up saying, I'm hungry, give me a sandwich. No, you're not having another sandwich.
Once again, it's an utterly ill-informed discussion.
Hey there, welcome to the Drawing Codex. In this video I want to do a simple drawing lesson covering one thing. How do we draw the figure from different angles? How do we draw it from above, from below, etc.? This is one of the biggest challenges that faces the artist at the outset, and even when you're well into your artistic journey, it can be a real stumbling block. And what I want to do is give you a few really simple exercises and ways to think about this so that you can practice. Now, obviously, this is something that relies on a lot of foundational perspective, and there's a lot of moving parts here, but I think there's a couple of key concepts that you can apply straight away, even if you haven't fully fleshed out your drawing foundation, even if your perspective is not 100%. I think there's a lot of things that you can take away and start practicing to make sure that your figures look as if they're grounded. Anyway, let's jump in and get started. Alright, welcome again to the Drawing Codex. My name's Tim McBurney. I've been a professional working artist for over 20 years, and on this channel we're all about drawing cool stuff from our imagination, embracing the challenge of drawing, and mastering the craft of line and color illustration. If you want to learn more about line and color illustration, you can check out my free quick start guide. It gives you my basic advice for how to get up and running quickly in Photoshop with a line and color style. I go over how to build a simple, reliable process in Photoshop, and I give you my tips for going from thumbnail to the finished image. I also give you all the brushes and all the basic stuff you need to get up and started with the line and color style. This is where we create worlds with simple line and color. So it's not like there's a lack of information on these ideas of how to draw the figure from different angles. The basic idea, as should be pretty obvious, is that we combine the simple idea of taking a mannequin, of taking a stick figure, and then we basically just rotate it in space. The problem is that's easier said than done. and it's hard to know how to approach it. In the same way, you can read Andrew Loomis's book, Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, which is great, and it has a lot of information there. But again, I think the challenge for me when I was figuring out how to do a lot of this is, what do I start with, and how do I actually make that apply not just to the standard human anatomy, but maybe how do we make it apply to more cartoony things as well? I think what I want to do is, again, try those two dual concepts. One is, again, how do we draw the standard mannequin, but also maybe something a lot more cartoony may also help us to understand how this functions, so I can demonstrate that to you. But basically what I want to try and do is give you a simple exercise that you can go away and either follow along with me or take with you and just practice in your sketchbook as you go. Now, this is one of those concepts that I think is really important. And when I was starting out, again, I'd have ideas and they'd often be stifled by the fact that I couldn't draw characters from all sorts of different angles. And it took me a long time to really figure out, how to do that. But I think it's important to note that often when we are drawing things that, you don't always have to draw things from crazy angles. Not everything has to be some ridiculous, amazing angle, where you're drawing stuff from a crazy, sort of action pose where there's a million characters. You can see, right, like this panel here is a little bit like that. There's tons of characters, they're all fighting, camera's low. That's important. That's a little bit different to what I want to do. And again, in this exercise, because in order to do that, you kind of have to begin with the basics. You sort of have to really, really understand the simple way that perspective and boxes and box sort of logic or theory relates to the figure. And this is actually a really good way, just practicing drawing that mannequin and that figure from different angles. It's a really good way to understand the concepts of proportion and structure and just how you actually go about building something that kind of looks solid but is viewed from an angle that is maybe more interesting or exciting. Anyway, I don't want to go on for too long because I think you get the basic idea of where we're going with this. Let's jump over to the drawing table and get started. All right, here we are at the drawing table. Now, as I said, in most cases when you're drawing comics, you are working within a fairly limited framework of poses and things that you need to create, that you need to kind of make real from your imagination or from the script. In most cases, I think what you'll find is that you don't always have to draw a lot of these heavy down angle shots, right? It just doesn't often make sense. When you do, it's really, really important. But if we think about often, if I take the basic idea of creating a Loomis stick figure mannequin, and if you're new to the channel and you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, there's a lot of other videos that I have on the channel talking about the concepts of creating a mannequin and drawing solidly. And I'll link to a few of the basic ones in the description. So check that out if you might get a little bit lost with exactly what I'm talking about here. But the basic idea, as you may know if you've looked at these concepts before, is that we basically just draw a stick figure. Now, you can think about the basic idea here being that maybe you might have a panel where there's a few characters, right, and they're talking. So there's lots of situations where you might want to frame a panel or an illustration or whatever you want to do, right? You might have lots of reasons. So again, I'm just kind of winging this a little bit, not being that technical with it, just for illustrative purposes. All right, but again, you might have some people talking to each other in a panel, and you need to do this kind of down shot. Now, that's useful, but in my experience, most of the time what you want to do is see faces and make sure that the posing is sort of clear. And this is quite a disassociated shot, and you may have a lot of stories and a lot of ideas that involve this basic concept of, hey, we're looking down at a scene. All right, again, there might be more characters over here. All right, again, just roughly transferring, all right, some of those ideas. Oh, that one's getting a little bit out of whack. But again, there might be a whole crowd full of people, right? And now, if you don't know what you're doing, this type of scene is just an absolute unmitigated nightmare to execute on. So it is really, really important to kind of understand your basic perspective and all of that stuff. It'll really, really make your life a lot easier, and it'll make these kind of things a lot more fun. In most cases, though, I do want to point out, because I think it is super important to remember that in most cases, we're just dealing with minor variations, with minor tilts. So, and this is just my experience, but again, this is just practical advice if you're thinking about this. Often this is the thing that terrifies me, right? I wake up in a cold sweat as a young artist, sort of thinking about, please don't make me draw this kind of scene because it's just too hard. But what I found in most cases is that, there's a couple of things, right? You can see this scene is a little bit like that. We've got a few characters kind of from above, but the idea of having to draw extensive scenes where, there's all these sort of dynamic angles, maybe in superhero comics, there might be a little bit more of that. But in most cases, we're dealing with looking at faces and fairly simple shots, which is very, very similar to what you would look at in a film. We're often choosing shots for clarity so we can read the character's face. Again, in comics or similarly in an illustration, you kind of want to see the character's face. You want to see them fairly straight on. And I think in most cases, this sort of thing is not actually what you spend most of your time doing. And certainly if you're doing illustrations, primarily often what we're talking about from a compositional standpoint is, it's frequently involving characters who are pretty front on. If you deal with your classic sort of pin-up character, right, it basically is some form of this. Now, it might involve a lot of twisting of the figure, but not a lot of this need to make it grounded and draw it from different angles. But I feel like this idea of just learning how do we draw the figure like this, and then how do we do the opposite of that, which is draw it from below, right? Go here, same stick figure idea, boom, boom. Got a head there. Right, and then we're going to have arm here, right, something like this. And again, you can continue the basic concept as you go, right? If we want to do that from the back, very, very simple, right? We just sort of flip the character around, right, and then we're drawing this. So I'm just going to be putting in rough perspective to illustrate what I need, and this is typically what I would do for myself. And I'm just illustrating the different options here. So we will get to some actual exercises, and I'll talk specifically about what I'm doing and how you can pull some concepts from books like the Loomis books or other sort of how to draw books and sort of actually try and get your head around this basic concept. But again, we do it from the back. It's the same thing. All right. So here the face is like this. All right, here it's from the back. And the difference really is just what does that arc of the spine look like, and how do these limbs tend to bend, right, as a very sort of rough basic idea. So again, these are a little bit from above and below. These ones are a little bit more. The basic concept is the same. Again, the reason that you would have some need to draw like a really kind of worm's eye view of something like this. I don't know why you would need to do that, but say you did. Again, it's going to be a very similar concept, right? Feet are going to be on the ground, shoulders are going to be somewhere here, right? Head is going to be up there. We're going to have some arms here. Right. So again, sorry that guy's got a little bit squished, but again, it's the same idea. It's just a matter of how much exaggeration is there on this perspective grid, if that makes sense. Let's see if we can do better on that head. All right. See if we can find the form of that torso a little bit. Head goes there. Yeah, might look, that's a little bit better. But it's all the same idea. What we're doing is we're taking the basic concept of a skeleton or a mannequin or a stick figure, and we're just drawing it from different angles. As I said, the problem is that's its own challenge, and that really is what I want to talk about in this lesson and show you is how do we combine the concepts of box logic or drawing simple geoforms, which again is very, very much linked to this, and how do we find some exercises and things you can do so you can jump in and start practicing this. All right, so if we look at the pages that you might find in a traditional drawing book that are going to be related to this concept, it's often at the beginning, and it's where we link up concepts of perspective. So you can see here some great illustrations of how the concepts of proportion and perspective and just lining things up are going to work in 3 dimensions. So this is really what we're dealing with, is the idea that if we understand the basic proportions of the mannequin, which you can find in some of the additional videos I've got that I'll link below so you can check those out. But again, I'll go over them super quickly in this video so you can just jump in if you need. And then it's just simply a matter of understanding how perspective works. A lot of it does involve this simple concept of thinking of a plane and how we derive some simple proportion from that plane. All right, so the task is pretty simple. What we need to do and what is good to practice is just practice drawing space or a line that your character is going to occupy. And what we want to do is find these proportional markers. The one that I think is the most important to find and the one that you can practice finding is the halfway mark. And that essentially is going to divide the character around about the bottom of the pelvis or at the crotch area. This will also line up with the base of the hand. And this is a really, really important marker because, again, it basically divides the legs from the top of the figure. And this really is one of the major things that you're trying to do. So what you can practice doing is drawing that character in 2 dimensions. And then you can practice drawing them in 3 dimensions. Now, once you get a feel for the proportional division, it's a lot easier to add dimension. So if we, and again, I'm just going to be fairly rough with this, so apologies if some of these lines don't match up. I won't do this with a ruler because it's a little bit easier to just kind of see when we're doing it by hand, but some of these lines might not match up. The more accurate you can be with this, the better, and I'd say if you study your basic perspective with a ruler, it'll really help you to make sure you're not making errors based on simple errors of the hand, let's say. But either way, it's important to understand how accurate you need to be with these lines. So even if you're not using a ruler, you have to understand how likely are you to gauge proportion in 2 dimensions. If you're having trouble doing it in 2 dimensions, then it's very tricky for you to just magically turn that into 3 dimensions. So just remember that. The first thing we're going to do is just figure out how do we draw that character in 2 dimensions, and we're going to divide the mannequin up into 1 proportion and 2 proportions. As I said, basically dividing the character at halfway and that sort of crotch area, right? So we've got something like this. Now, as I said, I've got more videos that talk about this in detail. But this should illustrate the basic point. So what we need to find is these set of proportions. We got 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top. And we use these to define essentially where the head is going to go up top, where the top of the shoulders are going to go, and where the sort of normally this line is a really good line for where the breasts or the nipples are going to sort of go, again halfway up the arm. And this bottom of this third marker is where you're going to have your navel and the bottom of the elbow. Down below, we're going to again divide this second proportion in half, and we've got 1, 2. The top is going to be the top of the legs, and the second one is the bottom of the legs. We've got some feet down here. We then know that the hand is probably going to come a little bit above the knee, normally 1 hand length above the knee, somewhere again around there. And that's the simple two-dimensional proportion. Again, what we're doing is just making a stick figure out of this concept here. So this is where just, potentially copying these things or studying these or having some, you print out a version of this on your computer or something like that, print it out, stick it up on the wall. It really helps to kind of make sure this stuff is fully imprinted into your memory. So it's important here that we find this halfway point. This division is really, really going to help. And again, you can fully study the figure, you can fully study all of these, but this is really the first exercise that I think you should apply. And this is the primary exercise that I think will really, really help you to just understand how to draw the figure from different angles. So in this case, if we transfer that proportion, right, so I'm sort of drawing it as a plane here, but this is just roughly to kind of illustrate things. Now I can guesstimate roughly where halfway up there is. But this is what we're dealing with when, all right, we can divide that up. All right, we can divide that up. This is where thinking about those proportions in 2D will help us in 3D. So you can see that if I find the midpoint, then it's very easy for me to roughly guesstimate where these other 1, 2, 3, 4 proportions are going to be. In the same way, it's going to be a lot easier for me to now guesstimate where these feet and legs are going to be. That is the baseline. And if we think about essentially repeating this concept again and again, it's just a matter of getting to a point where you line all of these things up. Now, obviously, this changes as you pose the figure differently, as you move things around, as the character moves. But if you're thinking about how to get your head around this in the beginning, this is where you start. And I think that can be one of the biggest challenges with this overall exercise, is just understanding what is actually going to teach you how to get better at this. It often is this simpler exercise where you're just thinking about, okay, let's make sure I can control proportion as I just adjust the figure and draw it from a slightly different angle, right? So if we take a simple, got a little sort of toy here that'll sort of help us understand this, just start by rotating the figure a little bit, right? Just start by trying to draw it from a little bit of an angle there, and then maybe you can draw it from an angle that's slightly below, and then you can maybe try draw it from behind, etc., etc. Just ratchet up the complexity a little bit by bit. That's one of the things that will really, really help you. This is where it all happens, at that halfway point. So what you can do is just practice the idea of how do you divide up that space. So what we're doing is essentially taking the fundamental principle of perspective here, that is the one you take away. And that is that we can apply whatever is possible with two-dimensional geometry to three-dimensional perspective, as long as we have a good idea where the vanishing points are and where the essential grid is. All right, so we've got a grid, boom, boom. So I can do the same thing here because these corners don't move in two-dimensional space, and I can draw a line between them, and then I know how to divide up that space. So this is the fundamental concept of perspective that will help you to initially gauge that proportion. So we can think about this, right? If we have like a lot of extreme exaggeration, we still can find halfway up. And it's this experimentation with this basic concept that will teach you a lot about how to change the camera angle. Now, behind this is the concept of the perspective grid, which I think is its own challenge. And this is where what we can try and do is understand the basic takeaways that we're going to get from perspective as it relates to the figure. But if you have to understand that there's a point at which you need to go away and learn perspective properly if you want to really, really get stuck into this. But the fundamental thing that will help you understand it is the box logic, or just viewing the box that surrounds your space. You've probably seen a lot of people talk about this, and there's a lot of discussion about this as being important for your drawing, to understand the grids and the simple idea of three-dimensional space. So this is like a perspective grid. It's a sense that all these lines are heading towards a vanishing point. And again, I'm just being very rough. Now, what we're trying to do here is increase our ability to visualize three-dimensional space around the character. And that's really all you have to do. What you have to do is imagine that as you rotate the cube, the figure rotates. As you rotate the figure, the cube rotates. And don't worry too much about the rest of perspective. Again, the more you can understand about it, the better. But at the outset, what we have to think about is just this simple concept of where these lines might be, and just make sure that as we line things up, things like our feet, things like our shoulders are lining up with each other. Now, again, that will change as the hands move, right? As the hand moves up, as we pose the character, obviously all of that changes. It's really important to start and again get your understanding of the initial perspective right, though, because it's very easy to move things around once you get the character feeling as if they're solid. So the first part of the exercise is, as I said, just study and get good at dividing up space with different grids. I actually have a whole video on this basic concept that is talking about how you draw straight lines. And one of the reasons I use a grid as a good way for you to understand how to draw straight lines is because often the reason we're drawing straight lines is to draw a grid. So the concept of physically being able to draw grids is super important. But what you do here with the figure is just draw some different grids and then try and figure out where the halfway point is. Again, that's not a very good one. Keep going, keep experimenting. Etc., etc. We can think about, again, that idea of drawing a character where we're at a worm's eye view or a bird's eye view, whatever it is. The most important thing initially is really basic. Just get that initial halfway point there. Once you do that, everything else becomes easy. Now, how do we sort of connect up the figure with this? Because I'm sure a lot of people are, at this point, sort of tuning out because this seems boring. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges, is understanding how this relates to what you want to do and why is it important. Well, obviously, once we get this right, we can then start to apply it to everything else. If we don't get this right, everything else is kind of a waste of time. All right, so how do we actually apply that? What I want to do mostly is talk about how that is applied and show it to you and give you a few little tools so that you can copy along, maybe try this with some of your characters or start to think about it. The goal here is that the more we can connect up figures and characters and interesting things with the topics of perspective, the more you're likely to get really interested in perspective and improving your perspective. If you can directly translate and apply the concepts that you might learn by studying 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspective, etc., at improving your technical drawing, then you can directly say, hey, now that I know that I've got this a little bit more accurate, that means the lines that I'm going to use to line up my character are going to be more accurate. I think that is the goal here. It's really easy doing drawing lessons to get lost in the weeds about perspective and form drawing and the concepts of boxes. So what I'm going to try and do is, again, just show you a little bit more how I do this so that hopefully you can get interested in learning the perspective if that's something that is lacking. And we can do some more basic perspective lessons on the channel as well. Let me know what you'd like to see. So the way that I start by this and the way that I would apply the concept of those Loomis books to drawing and drawing the mannequin is as follows. Let's start by drawing a character from above, as I was doing before. The most important thing that I think we can start with is just the center line. The center line is the thing that really helps us to anchor the figure. And this is similar to this center line here that is holding up the skeleton figure. This is an imaginary line running directly down the center of the body. And we can kind of really use this to figure out where that character is situated. So here we can, let's define some fairly sort of benign perspective here. This is all I'm using. So you can see this is actually similar to a box, right? If we think about a box being like this, what I'm drawing is this. Right, so I'm drawing the center of the box. You can imagine if there was a line there and a line there and then a line directly down the middle. That's kind of what I'm thinking about here. Where is the perspective? But I'm not drawing a box because in my experience, trying to fit a character in a box is not actually a good way to start. But in this case, that can be useful. Now, what I'm going to do is guesstimate the halfway point up here, from here to here. And this is something where, again, if you're having trouble drawing a line, right, again, thinking about where the perspective for that might be, and then trying to sort of guesstimate where halfway up is. If that's something that's troubling you, again, the more you learn about perspective, the better your ability to guesstimate that will be. If you're struggling, one of the things you can do is, again, formalize your drawing of these sort of elements and use those two-dimensional drawing tricks that we transfer to 3 dimensions, right? And see if you can find, bang, the center of that. So again, if I was to do that formally here, right, I'm just going to imagine that there is some sort of grid here that makes sense, right? So both these lines are going to some vanishing point, and I've got a line here. Boom. I'm going to try and guesstimate that's kind of down there straight, right? Boom. And then we can do the same thing here. So this is really the one that is super important to get right. Oh, I don't have a big enough ruler. Let's see if I can. I'll sort of see if I can guesstimate it kind of there. I think it's somewhere. Look, it's. Don't do that at home, people. Get a longer ruler. But I think this is going to be. It's pretty close. It's somewhere around there. So that is pretty close. Again, my guesstimation, and if we were to look at the vertical distance here, right, that's kind of 19. Half of 19 is somewhere around here, 9.5. So it's actually sort of like pretty much visually and measurement-wise exactly the same. Now, that's going to change depending on how much extreme perspective you get. But what I would do if you're thinking about drawing characters from above and different angles is just start with something basic like this. If you start to get to the point where you're thinking, oh, drawing characters from above equals really, really distorted grids. So it's not just that we're drawing the character from above, right? It's that we're drawing these kind of really extreme perspective shots. What you're doing is getting two concepts mixed up, in my opinion. One is the concept of the camera angle and how much distortion there is and how much exaggeration in the grid there is, from the concepts of lining things up and thinking about where the camera actually might be in relation to the figure. It's a lot easier to start with very low distortion. Again, it's very easy here to jump into a whole another subject of camera lenses, etc., etc., etc. The point is that you can draw a character, again, like a small character that's like fairly far away. There's not going to be heaps and heaps of distortion on this figure because, again, they're fairly small in relation to the camera. With a much larger figure, right, that gets really close to the camera, right, we can sort of take this really close to the camera. Sorry, it's going to get blurry, but you see the closer to the camera we get, the more distortion you get, right? So again, sorry it's blurry, but you get the basic idea. The camera angle is relating to what we're dealing with here in terms of extreme perspective. Now, that's something where the more of this extreme perspective you do, the better you'll be able to relate this to this. But when you're learning, stick with this. Just make it a very simple grid where you don't have a lot of distortion. Once you've done that, you can ratchet up the complexity. Super, super important. And again, if you're struggling with some of these concepts, as I said before, go check out some more fundamental perspective exercises. A lot of those you can actually see and study within those Loomis books. And again, I will make some more in the future on the channel. So the basic concept here is, again, we've got these proportional markers, and I'm just going to guesstimate, right, some lines going along here, right, and we can also visualize some sort of lines going here that might sort of help us. And then we've also got, we're sort of halfway up here. Yeah, maybe let's sort of guesstimate that. Try and draw a line. And what we're doing is adding just a very, very simple modification of our sort of initial Loomis proportion and sort of drawing, where we learn to draw the mannequin like this. I've got a head here, neck here, right, shoulders here, etc. So we're drawing the mannequin like this. What we're doing is we're taking these lines which don't have a lot of distortion on them, and we're just making sure that we draw them from different angles. That really is all that's going on. Just because you don't have extreme distortion in your perspective doesn't mean it isn't in perspective. That really is just related to the lens and where we're seeing characters from. Again, if you think about going back to that, sketch I had before where I had a bunch of little characters on the ground, normally that's going to be taken with a camera lens that's quite far away, taking a big sort of scenic shot from afar, and you're not actually going to have a lot of this distortion. This type of distortion is going to be much more prevalent when you've got the object really, really close to the camera, and there's going to be a lot more distortion there. So just keep that in mind. Now, this is still perspective, even though it's not ridiculously distorted. What we're trying to do is get used to lining up the character and drawing them from above and below. So here we're just going to do above, and hopefully I'll do a quick one below, and then we'll do a quick little sort of more cartoony character to show you how you apply the same basic concepts to something with a little bit more different proportional set. A little bit more of a different proportional set. So again, the reason I feel like focusing on the center line is important is that really is literally at the core of what we are trying to do. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and here I've got my 1, 2. So what I know is that here, I'm going to have my sort of pelvic probably a little bit higher, We're going to have the pelvic bit here, and this rib cage is actually going to come down here. So really good to get used to drawing these forms out in 3 dimensions. And this really is the skill that's probably more important and is going to help you. The grid helps us line up these points. So here I'm going to have, we've got the spine coming there. We're going to have spine coming up there, and it's going to go into the head, just somewhere around here. Boom, boom, boom. Drop a line down there. Let's sharpen this pencil. So we've got our head here. The lines will help us find these elements like the shoulder blades, They're going to help us find the shoulders from side to side. They're going to allow us to line up, again, the concept of where the hip bones are going to be. But you can see that having this concept of the center line is something that's really easy to keep us honest, because we can trace the spine, we can trace the which goes directly up the figure, and we can use that to help us find these different elements, and that just immediately will get us a lot closer to having something that feels symmetrical. And again, what we're after now is we've got this grid this way, We sort of have a grid this way. We don't really need it for a lot of things. But this is where, again, you can line things up and try and imagine where we have symmetry. Now, if you wanted to get more technical with the symmetry, you could try and do more technical perspective work to mirror. Again, I'm just going to eyeball. And what I would suggest is you just keep trying to eyeball it until you get sick of eyeballing it, and then go and learn how to measure it. Go and learn how to do it technically in perspective, and it'll hopefully be a lot more interesting then, because then once you learn it, you can come back to this and you know that you'll be more accurate. As I keep saying, I feel like that's so important. It's important to fail here. It's important to try to eyeball. It's not a matter of like get to a point where you're a 10 out of 10 at technical perspective, and then you can start eyeballing. No, you know, you are always guessing. You're always drawing cool stuff. Again, that's my primary recommendation, is draw cool stuff and, you know, figure out what you need to learn from drawing that interesting stuff, and do a little bit of this type of more academic study where we try and apply these things, and then, you know, go apply it to your cool stuff, and then you go back and forward and back and forward and back and forth. That really is the sort of magical answer as far as I'm concerned. That's really what sort of worked for me, and that's what I find typically works with students, is when they're constantly combining those two things. So what that means is sometimes you jump in and try and guess, and you fail, and you can redraw, and you can sketch around and try and draw something interesting, draw something fun, you know, try and, if you want to draw mechs, you know, try and draw some mechs from different angles. If you want to draw, you know, fantasy stuff or aliens, you know, draw some alien characters from different angles, etc., etc. Now, I've talked a lot about in other videos as well how to add the musculature on top of the mannequin. So for this demo, we'll just deal with mannequins, right? Because the process is almost identical. It's just a matter of thinking about, again, how the muscles kind of wrap around and look from different angles. But the trick here is, how do we figure out where these points of proportion are? So again, I've got this bottom of this third. Proportion is often where I'm going to have my elbow. And here, again, I'm going to find that I'm going to have a combination of, I've got the bottom of the pelvis here, and the hand, right, is going to stop. Right, hand is sort of going to start just below there. Got the elbow. Right, hand is going to, and this is where, again, what you'll tend to find is your intuition will be challenged. So the feeling of like, wait a minute, how long is this forearm? Well, I know from a proportional standpoint, right, if we look at this, that again, I've got that bottom of that rib cage. Just look at this and check, because again, this is a major thing that will come up. I've got the bottom of the rib cage. All right, it's going to line up with that elbow. Now, it's very easy to figure out the depth and the length of these things when you're just drawing it flat on, but it's very easy to become challenged and accidentally draw stuff too long or too small or whatever, or just kind of, you just get tripped up and you're no longer able to engage your normal natural drawing intuition. So it's important here to double check and remember your proportions. We can see again at the bottom of the pelvis there, that's kind of where the hands start, and the hands then go down, and they're kind of, you know, ending about halfway up this bone, or about, as I often say, one hand length above the knee, or certainly the hinge point of the leg. Whoop. So that is one of these things that's kind of quite tricky from a proportional standpoint to really get. All right, is understanding where these lines are likely to go. All right, so then we're going to have a line about there. Right, we're going to have a hand. If the hand was sort of extended, it would be about here. Right, if it was in a fist, it would probably be here. And here we've got the knee. Here we've got this. Now, this, I think, is often the biggest problem when it comes to drawing these things from different angles, is making sure that they connect with the ground, and more important, probably the subject of a different video, is how do you do, as I was doing in that other sketch, multiple characters from the same angle and make sure they all feel like they're sitting on the ground plane. Again, this is where having a good sense of that center line will really help. If we know where that center line is, you can easily understand that the feet, you know, if they're just sort of planted normally, which is what I'd recommend initially to give them just a standard sort of pose, is they're going to be equidistant more or less in a standard pose from that center line. Now, again, a subject of another video is kind of how we modify the posture and get different feelings there. But just understanding where that center line is in space, and then just sort of placing the heels of the feet somewhere so that there's an equal distance from here to here is super helpful. And then what I'm doing is basically just thinking about where these lines are going out at different angles. So you can think about that from a two-dimensional standpoint. If I'm looking down, right, here's this line on the ground, here's the center line, here's this foot here, and here's this foot here. And what I'm doing is I'm saying, well, the feet are kind of turned outward, a little bit like they are here. I'm doing it a little bit more exaggerated to make the point. But again, just visualizing the space, understanding the center, being able to measure, right? Again, it's the same thing. Visualizing the center line, measuring that space or guesstimating that space. Again, visualizing that center, understanding the points, right? So if we reattach our poor little skeleton's arm, again, this is the visualization we're trying to practice, is where's the center, where is the wrist sort of point, and where's the other wrist point, and just visualizing the distance. Having that center line there is super important, right? So this is what we're sort of trying to visualize. Points here, points here, points here. And really it is that simple. It's just a matter of staying true to the proportion, understanding how important the proportion is, understanding how important finding that middle section is. And what I'd say is not getting too lost in the perspective, just understanding that what we need is almost just parallel lines, right? Almost all I need to know is that, right, this line is kind of at like a similar angle to this one. It doesn't even need to be too much in perspective. I don't really even need these to be going to the same vanishing point. I just need them to kind of be almost in an isometric perspective to practice this. Again, once you start getting this and you're able to place these things accurately, I think that's when you'll be able to experiment a little bit more and take it to the next level. All right, let's try from below, because I think, again, what that will do is help us to just reiterate, do the same thing again, but we'll deal with a much more extreme angle. So we'll have a basic angle there, right? But a little bit of, let's put a little bit of an angle here, right? So maybe the horizon line is super low down, right? Here we've got our horizon line. And again, what I'm after is a sense of where that center is. So I'm just gonna, now, again, there's a procedural sort of thing here, which is obviously, you know, I could draw a big box here, right? So I'm trying to find halfway here. It doesn't really matter how big this box is. That's not really the point. All I need to do, you can sort of draw any old size box. Again, I'm going to run out of ruler. Let me find a bigger one. This will solve that problem. So you can see here that it's going to find center right over here, but that does give me a really good indication of where that's going to be, because all I'm going to try and do now is sort of draw, if we sort of try and understand what's happening from a visualization standpoint, right? I've drawn this, right? And what I'm trying to visualize is where this one is going to go. Now, it's not going to go there, right? I don't want to draw it that way because that's doesn't look like it's going to the same vanishing point. I want to draw it so that it feels like it's going to the same bump, same vanishing point over there, right? That's kind of what I want, right? And I want my horizon line to be somewhere there. That's kind of what I'm doing. Now, the line can be over here. It doesn't matter. What I'm after is where is halfway up this measurement, right? So if there was a line here or a line here, if I find the center between this line and this line, it will give me halfway up all of these lines. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, if not, it's a good example of how learning some more perspective may help. So here again, what I'm doing is this is the bit that will derail you if we get it wrong. What I'm trying to do is figure out where I place this line. Now there's a really easy trick that you can use, and that is to just measure. This is another sort of easy sort of way you can do this to kind of help you guesstimate. What I can do is physically measure. Right here I've got right, sort of roughly, that's roughly 20, so 10 is going to be halfway up here. And if we sort of take a measurement here, that's 16 and a half, so 8 and a bit, right? It's going to be somewhere around there. So if I kind of draw a line between these somewhere around here, right? Again, those things don't all line up perfectly. That's going to give me a pretty good indication of where halfway up is. Or you can just guess. Totally up to you. This is a really good way where you can start to apply these boring perspective concepts to your drawing, get a better result, get a better guesstimate, and make sure, again, you're doing that thing, building that muscle of applying the technical knowledge to something that's actually going to help you. The other thing you can do is you can try guessing first, and then you can do all of the things and see how far you get. You can see I kind of guessed about there, and it was a little bit down there. The point is that we want to get a feeling for where halfway up this figure is if we then start drawing the rest of these lines. Because obviously what I'm going to do now is divide up this top thing into 4 sections, and I'm going to divide this into half. And I'm just guesstimating at that point. Why? Because this is pretty accurate. And what you'll find generally with a lot of perspective is once you kind of key into it, once you kind of understand like, oh, I get what's happening here. I've got a solid indication. I know these are true. Then it's a lot easier for your brain to kind of guess the rest, if that makes sense. You kind of have the framework and the rest kind of fall into place. So again, I've got some of these lines going here. I'm not drawing them that accurately, but it is the same idea. We're going to have, what I'll do and what I suggest to do is kind of just rough it in first. Right, I'm going to have here sort of pelvic stuff here. There's going to be a rib cage thingy here. Again, they're going to sort of line up a little bit. Again, you know, the side of the rib cage will kind of line up with the pelvis. You kind of have that. Boom. Right. It helps me anyway to sort of visualize the spaces a little bit, right? Take those sort of jelly bean, take those, where's a good place to draw here? Take the jelly beans, right? And add dimensionality. Right? Just think about like, where is the 3-dimensional space there? Let's draw through, right? Let's try and define that space. I'm going to have a spine that goes up like that. It's going to come back behind, right, from the spine. Comes back, sort of curves in. Oh, sorry. Let's get that closer. Curves in on the small of the back, goes out, and then comes in. That's that sort of arc that I'm trying to visualize. So it's there, comes back up here, right, and then it's going to insert in the back of the skull there, right? And then I can draw the skull, right? I know, right? I can define dimensionality within that sphere, etc., etc. And here I've got, again, some shoulders right? Gonna place those shoulders. Again, visualizing, right? Got sort of a neck here. Again, I feel like those shoulders could be a little bit, again, a little bit more on that line. Now, you can either rough in or guesstimate, make things a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. If you run into trouble there or consistently run into trouble, again, one of the things that I'm facing is, as I often see with these drawing demos, that I'm looking at this paper from a little bit of an angle. I'm also meant to be looking up at it from the drawing, so it's going to be hard for me to gauge how big that head actually needs to be. But when I rough it in, again, the things that will help me to visualize that are, again, thinking about where that center line is, right? So it's almost like we're sort of, got the sphere, right? We're sort of chopping half of it off, and then we got this, right? And there'll be like eyes here. So I'm sort of trying to think about where that is under there. That will sort of help. And again, this is just construction drawing. So you know, if you're practicing these things, go crazy with it. Draw the lines, make it messy. It's really worthwhile going pretty rough, as rough as you need. But again, might need to make that head a little bit bigger or smaller. Again, don't feel like when you're doing these exercises that you need to get the ruler out for everything. Part of this is training your intuition and your ability to just kind of wing it and see how you go. So don't freak out if you're like, oh, I need to make the head a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. If it's really important and it's a really, really highly detailed illustration, then you might measure it out a little bit more. But most of the time with the mannequin, what we're after is lining things up. The things that will make the drawing really sort of awful are if the arms aren't lined up properly. If the eyes don't sort of line up, right? If one eye's up here and the other eye's down there or something silly. Those are the things that are going to make the difference. It's easy to kind of make the head overall a little bit bigger, overall a little bit smaller. Make sure it fits the character you want. If you're drawing a manga character, obviously a head might be a little bit bigger. Eyes are going to be a little bit bigger, right? Might be some sort of crazy hair or something like that on the figure. Who knows? Again, most of this is just get stuff in the right spot and then know the grid that you've got to line everything up on. But the good thing about proportion this way is that I don't even have to start drawing the legs because I sort of know where they're going to go. Right? I have a good understanding and a good ability to guesstimate where that line is, so I kind of know where those legs are going to go. Right? I've got a pretty good indication. Again, that's the heel of the foot. This is the ball of the foot. So we can't see it. This one's foreshortened, right? Coming at us. Again, that's, its own little drawing problem that can be quite challenging to solve. But at its core is just, going through things logically and kind of thinking about what you see when you're looking at a foot from front on. But as I said, I can either draw the legs or I could draw the hands because I know where everything is going to end up. We know what's going to happen. Now, I think probably, again, that's kind of where the bottom of that rib cage is meant to go. Right, so the bottom of the rib cage is meant to be probably a little bit lower. Right, navel is sort of going to be about there, and that means probably I've drawn these shoulders a little bit narrow, based on sort of, I think we're drawing sort of like a male figure. Right, so just going to sort of guesstimate where that is going to go, and we're going to line it up. And again, doing those things is totally fine. A lot of it is just recognizing the proportion. You go through it, and then just, I realize, oh, that's right, that torso, right, sort of comes down and hits the bottom of that proportion, right? So we sort of got 1 proportion, 2 proportion, 3 proportions, 4 proportions. And here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just drew this a little bit small initially. Again, not a problem because we can go in and adjust it. And that probably means visually this head is going to want to look a little bit bigger. But that's all we need to do. I know that the shoulders are going to be there. Again, I know that the forearms are sort of going to be about there. And as I said, we probably draw the shoulders a little bit lower. Shoulder there, shoulder there. So as I said, it's totally fine to experiment, to push and, you know, play with these things, make the shoulders a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. The goal is for you to understand what's happening, be able to troubleshoot. If you make a mistake like I did there, then, you know, you sort of know how to fix it. And mostly that you're just lining things up. So just remember, we're trying to line things up. Got the elbows are lined up, the hands lined up, the knees lined up, etc., etc., etc. I'm finding center, right? Center of that, right? Shoulders, boom, 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 etc. So again, same basic idea, very simple to apply. Practicing it can be a challenge, right? You've got to keep trying. You've got to keep playing with these things. It's very easy to make one mistake, as I said, you know, oh, this proportion's wrong. And the trick there is just fix it. Play around with fixing it. Fixing it is just as important as getting it right in the beginning. All right, we'll do one more little demo where we talk about a more sort of cartoony character, and we'll apply the basic same concepts there. Again, just to reiterate and sort of talk about how you can apply these perspective things to anything. All right, so same idea, but let's draw a little character that maybe has some different anatomical things, but we'll apply the same basic concept. We'll draw it from above. So again, what I'm doing is sort of setting a grid that way, and then I'm drawing some kind of line to help me figure out what's happening with the character. But in this case, mostly what I'm going to do is just discuss how we can use the concepts of form drawing to experiment. So here I'm going to have some sort of those hip bones, but in this case, let's draw something that maybe is a bit more like a dragon or some little character who is a little bit more cartoony. So dragon sort of creature. Right, in this case, I'm going to draw, think about where that's where the center is. I've got, right, we're lining things up. What I'm going to do is line up, that's where the knees are lined up, and then I'm going to draw one of these sort of animalistic legs. Right, so let's transfer that over. Here I've got, again, from side to side. Right, there's the center. Right, we've got this here. Got that there. We're just drawing points in space. Here I've got my pelvis. Let's see if we can find that. This is tricky because we've got a lot of foreshortening here. Right, and then I've got this over here. Where's it hit the ground? Hits the ground kind of over here. So really what we have to think about is what is the line of, where does that hit the ground? Right, and how do I get that leg to sit there, right? So again, if we were to look at this from above, if I draw this line from here, right, here we've got sort of the pelvis, and what we're doing is drawing legs out, boom, out here, and then it goes back, but that is kind of underneath. Right, so we're finding that point of this. Look at it from the side, it's going dunk, 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 And we're finding these points. And then it goes down, and we don't really see that, right? And then it comes out, right? And we sort of barely see that. So this is where, again, some of that perspective will come in handy. So now I'm going to draw our rib cage, and I think this is going to attach a little bit forward, so I still want to think about where that center line is going to be, but I'm going to transfer that over there. And so now what we're trying to do is find, again, like we'll have an arm here and an arm here, and we've got the spine wrapping around here. All right, we'll have a head, bump, bump, and let's put some arms down here. So I'm just going to transfer that arm right over here. Let's have some big chunky hands. All right, so we've got mannequin like this. Hopefully you guys can see this, and then we'll go, let's extend out. Right. Again, this is not a great design, mostly just because it's good to see all of these things working. Right, so we have a neck here, then we're going to have a tail. Now we find the tail by finding the point on the ground. Right, let's trace from there. We can think about what's happening here if we think about the side. Right, got pelvic bones, and then this is coming up here, right, curving around. Boom. And at the front there, we've sort of got the shoulders, and then this is continuing forward. Right, we've got some sort of thing there. And what's happening is this is the ground, and what I want is the tail to come down here. Right, although in this case it looks like it's coming a little bit more like that. So hopefully you can see how, again, we can practice, and again, hopefully you can see how that is going to turn into some sort of fantasy character that might look interesting. Again, just to sort of nail home the point, if we can sort of erase some of that out, and maybe, you know, put some extra sort of musculature on it so that you can see. Right, if we have some sort of arms like this. Right, leg. And here we'd have, again, some sort of toes. So yeah, again, hopefully you see that we could build that up if we wanted. And to me, you know, this is the sort of stuff that I was, you know, more interested in doing as, you know, characters that weren't, you know, typical humans. But the point is that just practicing these things, stepping through the basics, doing your simple division of space will really help. If you can do this right, if you can practice this and just keep going, you know, break out the ruler if you need to do it. If you're finding things are going wonky, as I said, go back, check your fundamental perspective knowledge, make sure that you're being accurate. A lot of the time, you know, these things are sort of going pear-shaped because, you know, as I said, we're trying to do a little bit too much of this extreme perspective. You're trying to do too much. stick with something that's almost like an isometric perspective. Isometric perspective is where, again, the lines don't really go back to a vanishing point. They're just kind of parallel to each other. That will teach you the fundamentals of how to control these grids that underline the figure and the structure. Once you do that, then you can start to build out more interesting characters. You can start to play with, again, much more extreme views, much more extreme angles. You know, you could try something that is, you know, super distorted, right? Where we're seeing like massive amounts of distortion there. Again, you ratchet up the difficulty bit at a time. Do a little bit of this. And again, there's like levels to the degree to where you're studying. These are still abstract studies. Do a few of these things and then just go draw your normal stuff for fun, right? That's what's important. The idea is important. Having fun while you're drawing is important. If you find that these are tricky, as I said, go back and just, you know, try and get your ability to draw cubes or some basic things as solid as that can be. Because then you find that there's follow-on, there's a flow to how these things support each other. But yeah, hopefully that has been interesting. Let me know in the comments. This is a little bit more of a technical one, which I do sort of apologize for. And the real challenge here is that I think both as a drawing teacher and as a student, what I remember, and I still find this kind of frustrating, is that it is hard to know where to approach this from. There's 4 or 5 things that you absolutely need to get right in order to start rotating these figures around and drawing them from different angles. And there's no linear way you can do it, I think, that gives you some amazing solution where you just do A, B, C, and then all of a sudden it magically works. It's a progression. Again, as I say, people can get really good at drawing cubes, and then they, you know, can't transfer those skills to their more interesting, fun drawings. And likewise, you know, if you just kind of keep doing this, but you don't study the perspective, then, you know, you're going to find it a little bit harder to you know, draw these things from different angles, and it's certainly going to take you a lot longer to get those things sorted. So it's a matter of doing all of these things and trying to figure out where they fit into your art journey, where they fit into your particular way of doing things. And I think the most important thing is to look for failure. Look for places where you aren't understanding things, but jump in first. Don't be afraid. It's okay if you try these things and they don't work. Don't freak out. Just step back and say, hey, what do I need to learn? Which fundamental thing am I not getting? You know, am I just completely not lining these things up? In many cases, it is just one of the biggest problems that you'll face is just people will be trying to draw these kind of lines and they're not even remotely going to the same vanishing point. There's a lack of accuracy. So that's where, again, just building your ability to draw straight lines, to develop grids. Again, I'll link to that video in the description. Just making sure all of that stuff is solid will help immensely. But this is a long game. This is a long journey. If you're partway along the journey, then again, you probably sort of know that already. There's no trick. As I said, you got to piece these things together in your subconscious mind a little bit at a time, and you slowly build structures that support each other. But I think what you have to understand is this does work, and you will get better at it a little bit by a little bit over time. So good luck with this. Let me know if you got any questions or comments down below. And but that's all I got for now. We'll catch you around. Happy drawing.
And don't worry, I don't say, oh, it's really bad. Just think she's 98. Let her have a nice rest of the life.
Yeah.
But instead, she was there, and the annoying thing was, and they do this with a lot of people in hospital, they pump you with drugs, try to sort it out. They don't, you know, there's probably a bit of guesswork going on. Maybe. A little bit.
Not as much as you, but go on.
Right? And because of that, they sort of break wind a lot. So I'm sat there with my dad talking.
Whoa,
drugs do that, Steve. I'm sure if there's a doctor listening or a nurse, they will clarify that if they pump you with all sorts of stuff, it wants to come out.
Right.
So you're sat there having a serious chat. It's a quiet hospital. The woman next door with the blue hands suddenly starts seeping gas, right? Well, I start laughing, because if there's one thing that makes you laugh, it's that, innit?
It's a 98-year-old woman with blue hands farting.
So you try to hold it in because it's a really quiet hospital, and it'd be obvious that that I was laughing at, and I didn't want to be mean, but it was funny. And then it got me talking about my auntie, because my auntie Nora, she same thing, pumped her with loads of drugs. She used to a cabinet next to the bed is like Boots. She's got loads of stuff, right, for all sorts of stuff. And I mean, she's not that old, but she's on loads of stuff, right?
She's a bit coked up, is she?
She called up my mum once. And,
yeah, you told us this. Go on, tell it again.
And she said, "Oh, how are you doing?" And that. She said, "All right." Bit worried though. My mum said, "Why? What's up?" She said, "I've been breaking wind." So she goes, "Well, you know." She says, "No, but this one is going on and on and on." And she was like, she was like, what do you say? What's like passing wind, farting for 5 minutes. one thing, not like, you know, trumping and then nothing.
Yeah.
Continuous
drone of a fart.
Yeah.
I don't think she had. How big was she? She must be the size of a barn.
No, she's not that big. She's, you know, she's good for her age.
No,
Quite
but I mean,
quite slim.
No,
It's
but
just-
fighting for 5 minutes. Where's all the gas? Was she circular breathing? Was she sucking it in with her mouth?
It was just, I don't know that much about it. But she called up my mum. About 2.5 minutes in.
Could you hear it in the background?
2.5 minutes in!
2.5 minutes in, she called my mum up, and it went on for a further 2.5 minutes.
Oh.
And she just stayed on the phone, did she?
Where
The whole
was-
time, going,
well-
can you hear that?
Well,
Yeah.
Did she hold the phone next to her arse? Listen to that.
She was off the
I'm
ground.
trying to work a tune down.
she was actually hovering. She was 4
Yeah.
foot off the ground
Yeah.
when they found her, the ambulance
Yeah.
men.
The cat's dead.
Don't light a match! Don't light that cigarette!
Yeah, it's like that advert. The kids come home from school, switch on the light.
Yeah. There they see Granny
Yeah.
hovering, turn the light on.
Be careful if you have an elderly woman at home.
Yeah. Drugs make you fart.
so it was last week when there was a little bit of confusion over the one for Holly Valance.
Of
Right?
course.
I
I don't think it was confusion, I think it was your error.
No, it wasn't.
And it
because-
was Holy Valance and you meant Pelmet.
Then
One.
Becky, who called up that time and said, "Oh, if you're getting mistaken with Pelmet," right? She sent me an email in a week saying, "I've done a bit of research.
Yeah.
It was my fault. I've made an error.
Yeah.
It is a Valance."
Okay.
And I know about Valances, as I told you last week at the very end. My auntie loves them,
Yeah.
right? She makes them. She started off just like putting them on top of the sort of window around the curtain. And then she thought, oh, I can do more with this.
Yes.
And she had a little coffee table that had magazines underneath, and she said, I'm sick of seeing them magazines when I'm sat down.
she sounds like a Pilkington.
So,
I'm sick of seeing them magazines when I sit down.
so she put a Valance round the table.
She just got balances around everything now.
Yeah. Then, next step, she tapes everything. She never actually watches telly. She tapes it all because she gets sick of listening to the adverts and that.
Yeah.
So she tapes everything. So she's got loads of videotapes and that. And the video used to get on her nerves. When she was watching a film, she'd see the clock changing.
Oh.
And it distracted her from the film. So she put a Valance round that.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah.
So,
That is really...
Or is it mental?
Only
Mrs. Einstein can tell.
I don't know. She's even made her little Jack Russell look like a hovercraft.
Yeah.
if you
It's
stand still,
great.
that's
So
it.
everything's got a balance.
If you go round and you stand still for too long, the chances are you get
She'll
a
put a
Valance
balance
around your
on.
head.
Yeah.
This is this is Auntie Who,
Auntie Nora.
and this is the one that farted for 5 minutes.
She did.
Lest our listeners forget.
Lest we
farted
forget.
for 5 minutes. Called his mum, saying I'm farting. 2 minutes into the fart.
She said about 2.5 minutes in.
Yeah. God.
She said I'm about 2.5 minutes into
Well,
the
my
fart.
mum said, how long's it been going on for? She said, well, it was about 2.5 minutes before I called you.
Yeah.
And then it went on for a further 2.5 minutes or something. And, then it stopped. And,
She couldn't time it because there was a Valance over the clock.
Yeah, she
Because it used to
couldn't time
annoy her
it,
when she was
yeah.
on the phone and you put her off seeing
So
the time.
it was
she was
consi-
guessing it was 5 minutes.
This was one consistent fart.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't making a noise, it was just...
Oh, it wasn't making a noise.
just gas.
Right. Endless gas.
So, there you
That's
go.
fantastic. I'm so
Well,
sorry.
it's like, right, listen, when I was a kid, right, and it's alright for you to go into women's toilets when you're a kid, it's like, oh, it's a bit cute, right, as long as you're not, like, over 15 or something, right?
Right.
But when I was a kid, I went into a toilet, and women, when they use their little cubicles, they don't shut the door. Some of them just sit down on the toilet,
Yeah.
right, and you see everything, and, No, seriously, that's probably one of the first times I saw, like, a woman.
Yeah.
That, right, and my Auntie Nora when she was staying over.
What happened with your Auntie Nora?
She was, she's into wearing caftans.
Into wearing what?
You know, caftans.
Oh, yeah.
What caftans?
Big, bellowy sort of dresses.
Right.
And, yeah, I used to sit on the floor at home in front of the telly.
Sure.
She was on the chair behind.
Yeah.
She did a bit of a sort of a Sharon Stone scene.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
There was no underwear?
No.
What age were you?
What was it like?
What age were
It
you?
was like a ripped tennis ball. So.
What? Right, we're off air. We're off air. Either that or put us in for the Sonys.
Yeah, no, because I read it and kind of started having sort of memories of Auntie Nora again.
Yeah.
Because she used to always, like,
Now, Auntie Nora is the woman
Who farted for 5 minutes.
she had wind for 5 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
But she also, she used to say, oh, Carl, rub me back. Right. And, with her being quite old, it was all sort of mouldy and warty.
It was mouldy.
No,
Mouldy.
sort of mouldy.
Mouldy. Right.
And what did you do?
I didn't like it. I hated it, in
It
fact.
was like reading a Braille book.
Yeah.
It was like putting your hand in a load of Cocoa Pops.
Oh, dear.
All really big brown things. And I just thought framing hers would be sort of 3D-ish.
Right. Yeah. What's that, a chunk of the moon? No.
Yeah. Did you R-text that wall?
Yeah. That's Auntie Nora.
That's Auntie Nora's back. Oh, God.
Any piece of your body, Carl, that you'd like to leave behind? for
That's
posterity?
disgusting. Putting your hand in some... Is she the one with the split tennis ball when she wasn't wearing
Shut
knickers?
up.
That's the one.
No, let's not discuss the tennis ball.
Okay.
So she used to get you to sort of knead her dough on her back.
God, this is really bad.
But like, what would she with her dress or whatever? Or
She wore those sort of squid-looking things that
Sorry, what?
what? Those squid-looking.
There's Auntie Nora coupling octopuses. What are you talking about? What do you mean
It's
she wore...
it's like a nightgown type thing,
But
but
what's squid got to do with it?
because it sort of looked like a squid around the edge.
Oh, I know, frilly things, yeah.
And she just said, I'm aching there. Oh. She was never well. She was never. Do you know what I mean? She's always had something wrong with her. I don't ask her how she is. It's just like she's not going to be all right.
Did she have wind when you were sort of neat? It must have been like playing an accordion.
Yeah, get a little tune going.
Oh, who's your auntie with the tattoos?
That's Hazel.
Oh, right, yeah.
Let's leave that.
Why?
Oh, let's
Why?
not talk about
Well, leave it. What have I come across there?
What's up with Auntie Hazel?
What's up with Auntie Hazel?
There's nothing wrong with her.
What?
It's just a
What?
just a lesbian, which is nothing wrong with that.
Well, no, but you've made it sound like there is now by not wanting to say it. My auntie's a
I know
lesbian.
what you're saying, though. I know what you're getting at. Just because I call her Uncle Hazel.
Play a record.
He's from Manchester. Please forgive him.
Carl's back. He's cheering up a little bit because I think he's vented his spleen a little bit on cities around the world that aren't as good as Manchester. So, is any of your family left in Manchester? Because they all moved away, didn't they? You came here. Your dad's moved to Wales, for Christ's sake. Well, your family are all around the... Brother joined the army to get anywhere. Just take me anywhere.
We don't know where he is.
His sister's moved away, so no
Ireland.
one... Yeah, there you go, you see? So, that's just one family. That's one family who love Manchester.
Exactly.
Alright?
Tell you what, Steve.
Go on.
Look what I did find out in the week.
Yeah.
World record, right? Person with the longest trump.
With the longest what?
Wind. Fart.
Right.
Right? 2 minutes 42 is the world record.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I'm immediately thinking about a relative of yours who I'm sure did longer than
Who
that.
still lives in Manchester.
Auntie Nora.
Now, Auntie Nora did it for 5
Reportedly,
minutes, wasn't it?
starfighter for 5 minutes. But, unfortunately, she was the only person in the room. Whereas I think, which one's alive, Ross or Norris McWhirter?
I don't know, actually.
He has to be there.
Yeah, I think he actually has to
He'd
be
have
present.
to be there.
Would you want to be there?
Well, he'd have sort of equipment, and looking at his watch, going, finish? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, that was 4
Did
minutes,
she
59
go from like a
seconds.
size 10 to a size 6?
Did
Did she show some old dresses?
like a hovercraft.
Exactly.
In a big dress.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
slightly off. Yeah. So, it has to be invigilated.
But again, you know, how was the Guinness Book of World Records one invigilated? I mean, who was supervising that? Who was
He
monitoring
said
that?
I can fart for 2 minutes. They went, well, we've got to see this. Went round, and he just probably let it rip. It's probably circular breathing. He's probably sort of sucking in air and swallowing it as he's going, and it's a continuous one, isn't it? It's not like, yeah.
I mean, it said, you know, that's how Nora's happened. Me Auntie Nora, she had a little bit of wind. It went on for like 2.5 minutes.
Sure.
That's when she called me mum.
As it was still going on.
And said, there's something not right here.
I'm leaking.
She said, oh, can you send your dad round? You know, my dad.
Yeah.
Sent to me mum.
With a cork.
And,
with a lighter. I think this would be the best one
I want to
ever.
show the kids something.
he said, I'll be there in a bit, get the windows open. But what it was down to, because I was talking to
Is
my
she
mum
the
and
one
dad
with the
about
split
it.
tennis ball?
Yeah.
Can we not talk
talk-
about that again?
I was talking to my mum and dad about it, saying, you know, why do you think it happened and that? And it's because she never chucks food away, right? And she'll sort of mash it all up. And she's got all these ice cream tubs in the fridge that are just full
Cabbage
of, like,
water.
old, mashed up food.
Really?
And she prepares everything. Right, she doesn't work, she's retired now, she's got nothing to do all day, but everything's got to be ready
Still
for
calls
her.
in sick.
Do you know what I mean? Everything's got to be done. Even though, if you're going round to her house, and you're going there for tea, it's like, what time are you coming? And it's like, well, I don't know, maybe 5, maybe 6.
Yeah, you're
Well, no,
late,
I need
because
to
you're
know,
late when
I
you
need
have to
to
meet
know.
us at 5 or 6.
Do you know what I mean? That's
But,
what...
sorry, when you say she mashes up food, she literally takes the remnants of a dinner, could be sort of some...
Anything.
And just smashes it all up into a...
Yeah.
And then what does she do with it?
Put it in the fridge, and she's got in the fridge, it's like January, February, March, she's got all these ice cream boxes that are just full of...
But she doesn't... She reheats it and eats it.
Oh, then she,
I
puts it in
thought
a
she was
pan.
just keeping it as a
No, no,
souvenir
no.
of each meal she'd had.
No, put it in a pan, warm it up.
Oh,
And
good for
that's what it
intense.
is, it's just...
A lot of vegetation, is it?
Yeah.
Why does it only happen once, or does she save it up once a year, just let it go?
I don't know. Well, she is mad,
Yeah, she sounds potty.
She doesn't answer the phone anymore in case there's a burglar. Checking if she's in. It's like, well, answer it and then they'll know you are in and they won't come round.
Yeah.
Mental.
Well,
Mental.
they can't be sure then, can they?
What do you mean?
Well, if there's no, I go, well, maybe it's someone just... They are in, but they're hiding, whereas if Auntie Nora goes, it's Auntie Nora. We can nick... She'll be farting. We can sneak in when she does a loud one. Because we'll be aware to tell you, what's stopping it? It's got a valance round it. It's got caught on the cat. Alright? Carl's had a bad week. I'm just saying it straight away. He tries to rule out stress in his life.
Yeah.
But he's had a bit too much stress this week, haven't you? One, a phone call from his mum, stressed him a little bit.
Right.
Something he said in a magazine about his auntie. Came back to haunt him.
Auntie Nora?
Auntie Nora, yeah.
Don't name her.
Oh,
She
no,
knows
don't
who
name
she
her.
is.
No. Okay, we won't name her, right? We'll just say it's the one who farted for 5 minutes and as he saw a skirt when he was young and I found it like a split tennis
So
ball.
it could be any of me aunties.
So other stressful things.
But, so anyway, what's the Auntie Nora thing? Sorry, Auntie-X.
Auntie X.
What did she...
Yeah.
Why is she upset?
Well, he mentioned her in Zoo. He did this thing for Zoo magazine, and he mentioned about when he looked up her dress. She had a...
Yeah, by accident, remember?
No, I'm not suggesting you were going around looking up your elderly relatives' dresses in case they weren't wearing...
For people who've not heard Carl talk about this in the past, just explain quickly again what we're talking about.
Right.
He didn't want to talk about it at all.
When I was a kid, right, Auntie Nora used to come round. Me auntie used to come round.
As if there's any ambiguity now. Yeah.
My auntie used to come round and stay, right? And I'm sat on the floor watching the telly, right? She's sat on the sofa with a caftan on. I turn round, right, and it was there.
It was looking back
at me, right? And we've mentioned this, and Ricky sort of said, what did it look like? And, you know, a split tennis ball came to mind. That's what we talked about, right? So anyway, Zoo magazine, when they did the interview...
And she's the one that used to put a valance on everything, isn't it?
Well, not everything, obviously. So anyway, so I've done this...
So you did interview in Zoo?
Yeah, and like they said, you know, it was like, you know, do you plan stuff and do you worry about stuff when, after you've done the show, you're worried you've upset anyone? And, you know, I was saying, really, I forget people are listening. And, you know, we're just having a chat with mates and that. I said, but now and again, I do worry,
when I'm on my way home from the show and that, and I'm thinking about what we've talked about, and I was saying, you know, the Auntie Nora incident.
Incident! That's Watergate!
Yeah. And, anyway, so this was in there, right? And I was saying in the magazine, you know, but I think I got away with it. She doesn't listen to the show, but, you know, and I don't think she reads Zoo magazine, so...
She's more of a nuts woman. Sure, yeah.
So, anyway, so my mum calls up the other week, right? And she goes, wish you wouldn't, you know, talk about Auntie Nora and that. And, I was like, oh, so how do you know about that? She goes, well, one of your cousins have called us up and said they've read the article about it. So yeah, that's why we don't want to talk about it, really.
So he stitched you up.
So do you know what Auntie X has made of this? Do you know if she was upset or not?
Well, she doesn't know about it.
Because, I mean, maybe she's always thought it looked like a split tennis ball. Maybe you're just in sync, you know, because you're relatives and stuff. Maybe she knew instantly. Even if you hadn't named her, she'd have thought, hang on, I farted for 5 minutes once.
Yeah, that's not going to be ambiguous,
well
is it?
be me.
If you hear that, like, someone who farted for 5 minutes has got found like a split tennis ball, you're going to go, I wonder if he means me.
Yeah.
You're going to remember
or
that.
Auntie Jackie. It could be Auntie Jackie.
Oh, God.
Oh, chimpanzee, that is running it down again.
Yeah, this is where we read extracts from Karl's diary. We've had to wrestle it from him. He's never happy, but, you know, that's the way it goes when you're doing, you know, a show as popular as this. And I'm going straight now to this entry. My mam phoned and said that my Auntie Nora, classic Auntie Nora, wanted me to look on the internet to find out what the weather will be like in Spain at the end of November. I don't know where she gets her money from. 2 months ago, she was asking me dad how much it would be to get her back garden astroturfed, because she's sick and tired of the grass getting out of
What does
hand.
she want to do? Start a football team? What does she want a back garden astroturf?
She likes the sort of green look, but she doesn't like the headache that comes with it, so she's just looking into getting that false grass put in there.
Brilliant.
Don't know how much it is.
They always say when you get someone a present, you should buy them something they wouldn't buy themselves. Daft rule. I want something I would buy myself if I had the money. When I was young, me Auntie Nora got me a present I wouldn't buy myself. It was a t-shirt with her face on.
I'd be more confident if I had someone else's body, because if anyone dissed it, I can go, no, it's bad, innit? But it's
What
not
are you
mine.
talking about?
What, it's like, say,
As opposed to someone else's head?
yeah. Well,
What,
it
you'd
wouldn't be
rather-
me, would it? The head is me.
Well, of course it is. That's what I mean.
yeah,
So
the
what do you
head's
mean?
me.
You'd be happier having someone else's body? What, than your own?
What I mean is, say if you're wandering about, for some reason, there's an incident. You have to take your top off and that, and everyone's looking at you, right? And you're a bit sort of, you know, you haven't got the muscles and that, you haven't got the six-pack.
Right.
Which isn't that nice anyway. I don't know why that's become a nice thing, really, seeing the insides of you. You might as well... I mean, I know I came up with the see-through skin idea, but it's a bit weird, isn't it? You can see stuff.
No, it's the muscle in front of the...
No, it's not.
It
Sometimes
is.
you can
It's
see,
not the-
like,
It's not the
tubes.
outline of your
No, you
organs.
can't see tubes.
You can see tubes and veins and stuff.
Well, you can see veins.
Yeah, well, I don't want to see that. That's why we've got skin over it. Is
Well,
what
stop
I mean.
looking at naked men, then.
Why
No,
you
but
keep...
sometimes you can't help it because it's been hot, and like you say, there's people walking about with vests on and that. So anyway, what I'm saying is, say if some incident happened, I'm walking about with my top off.
Right.
Girls are laughing at me, right?
Why?
Dunno, they might.
Yeah, go on. So they wouldn't look at your body, they'd all look at your head.
So what I mean is,
Yeah.
rewind that, right, and imagine all that happens again, but I've got someone else's body.
Right.
Whose body?
Just some fella who's died, and my body was injured, and they said, we've got a new body in. You can
Right.
have it. We'll
Yeah.
stick your head on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, say if...
They're laughing at you.
They are
laughing at the body,
They're laughing
yeah.
at the body.
Yeah.
But at least I'd be able to sort of go, I know it's a mess, but it's not mine. At least I don't have to claim ownership.
So all of this extraordinary technology that can make put one head on another person's body is so you can go, it's not my body.
No.
But
And it's not your own.
I'm not being funny though. So if you have a body transplant, right, and you're there, you're at home, naked, you look down,
Yeah.
lovely penis and a set of testicles,
Yeah.
right? What do you do with them?
What do you mean? What am I doing with them?
Well, do you like them?
Well, you wouldn't mess about with them as much as if they were your own.
But if you did mess about with them, would you feel guilty that you were messing about with another man's testicles and penis?
And it's the full body.
Yeah.
No, because they're not my hands either.
You're a genius! You're a fucking genius! So what you're doing is watching someone else wank.
Yeah.
I was listening to the radio in England a few weeks back, Radio 4, quite highbrow. There was a discussion about political correctness. My name came up straight away, right? And there was this woman on there going, oh yeah, well it's not right. Ricky Gervais, he makes jokes about fat people. He wouldn't make jokes about gay people, would he? And being fat is like being gay. What? No, it's not. What? You can't choose your sexuality. As we've established, you choose whether to eat too much or not. You know, with your sexuality, you're born, you grow up, you discover you like same-sex relationships, and that's it. You're gay, okay? For being gay to be the same as being fat, you'd have to be born, be straight, grow up knowing you're straight, but gradually and consciously wean yourself onto cock. Oh. Happy 16th birthday, son. This is Raoul. Suck his cock. Sorry, father? Suck his cock. 16 now, suck his cock. I don't like cock, father. Doesn't like cock. How do you know if you've never tried it? Ah! Suck his cock. I don't... Suck one cock. Suck... that's not sucking it, that's playing with you. Put it in your mouth. Put it... oh. Look, have a go, you might like it. Oh, it's not so bad, is it? Oh, I fucking love these. If that happened, then being gay would be the same as being fat, but it doesn't, so it's not. Okay.
This is a new religion I started. I didn't tell you about it. It's the handing over of the recording device.
It's like bringing apple to teacher.
We
do look a little Lord's Supper here, don't we? It's a little spread out.
So I don't think it needs. Everyone.
I
don't think it needs to be said at this point. Well, please welcome. Yes, Tina Fey. Plymouth Frog. Thank you very much. Ricky Gervais. Constantine. Yes, Ty Burrell. And Sam Eva. Greetings, Hollywood media elite.
Well, goodbye, everyone.
First question.
Questions.
Yes, for Kermit, I was wondering, nothing against you, Constantine, but I was wondering why, Kermit, you didn't want to play both parts, because it would have really enhanced your acting credits. And where's Miss Piggy?
Boy, that's two very different questions. Well, you know, it didn't make sense for me to play Constantine, because we do have a few scenes together, and I don't really work on green screen. So we couldn't really make that work. Plus, listen, Constantine is actually a distant cousin from Russia.
Yes.
Also with roots in the Colorado area, I understand.
This is true.
They like to lick toads there. But anyway, so it was better to get him to do it. He has the voice, you know.
He is actually from Russia.
Well, I'm afraid so, Sam.
Thank goodness you're sitting between the two of us. That's all I can say.
But what is weird thing is I cannot speak any Russian words. Just an accent. That's it.
That's a weird part of Russia. That's all English.
That is correct.
You're going to the Russian airport.
Yes.
Oh, and I should, to answer the second part of your question, well, I'm just going to give it away. Miss Piggy is actually around, but she insisted upon being fashionably late. So I don't know when she's going to show up, but she is here.
Who cares?
In the second row.
Exactly.
Angela Dawson, Front Row Features. I wanted to ask the humans amongst the group here about the singing. And was it, were you nervous at all about being in a movie musical and singing and so forth? How did you approach it? And, you know, will there be more musicals in your future?
Well, I was okay with singing. I'm a proud pop star. I always sneak a song into everything I do, whether it's David Brent or Simpsons or whatever. But dancing, a little awkward, a little embarrassed about that. I don't move well. But I was with a frog,
Yes.
so it doesn't matter. I'll do anything with a frog. That's my motto.
That's his new thing.
And he's a great tap dancer, or more a flat dancer.
But
He's like
flip dancing.
yeah, flat dancing on my head. So yeah, no one's going to be looking at me when we're doing that dance. They're going to be saying, "There's a frog dancing." That's what's going to be happening. So yeah, I got away with it.
Yeah, you have good voice. My singing sounds like, if you've ever seen the movie version of Oliver, when the little boy sings and you can hear the hiss of how loud they had to turn up the microphone. My singing sounds like that.
No, that's not good. You were great. You were great.
But I think Brett wrote really, really good songs that make us seem good.
Brilliant, amazing.
America and the world was spared my singing voice except for 2 notes. I don't know if you noticed that. I think it was by design. I spoke my song, but I was thrilled to do it. I'm a huge fan of Brett McKenzie.
You are selling yourself short. You are a great singer, a great actor, and a great American.
So confusing.
In the second row.
Hi, Tina. In your Naja persona, can you tell us why you, not Miss Piggy, are the right woman for Kermit? She'll stab you in the back later, but just tell us now why you're the
Nadia
right
is less work than Piggy. You can give Nadia a bag of hot rocks for Valentine's Day. She will not care. Easy cheap date.
Over here on the right.
Hello, here. It's a question for Mr. Constantine.
What?
After this movie, and singing and dancing, did you ever plan to leave behind the criminal life and dedicate and incorporate to the Muppets family?
Well, this is a good question. I am actually thinking about doing new Netflix original programming. I will call it House of Toads. I will executive produce and showrun. So let's take meeting, yes? What do you think?
Amazing. You're the best.
I am.
I love this guy. He looks like, he's got a cold, he's literally got a cold exterior. He's cold-blooded, he's an amphibian. But
yes.
He's got a little, I think I've melted his heart a little bit. You see, he had a bad upbringing. He was born in a Russian pond, weren't you?
Yes.
One of 800 siblings.
Right.
Many of them dead.
Right. Eaten by fish.
Eaten by fish. And he came over here and we met and we bonded, didn't we? We bonded
Yes.
over our mutual hatred of most of the other Muppets.
Well, a particular pig.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started.
Yeah, I think she's not here.
Yes.
In the center.
Hi, my name is Cassandra. I'm from Kids Pick Flicks. So in the movie, there's a scene where Kermit, you try to mimic Constantine in that mirror. So I was wondering, for all of you in your own personal lives, have you ever tried to be someone and mimic someone that isn't true to who you really are?
That's what we do for a living, isn't it? Yeah. We turn that very strange psychological disorder into a lucrative career.
You nailed the answer, Kermit. That was good.
Hi. There's a line in the movie that, over here, that suggests that there may have been some rivalry behind the scenes over how much screen time Walter got in the last movie. Would Kermit and Sam care to comment on that? Any sort of behind the scenes politicking?
Sam, you're good at behind the scenes politicking.
Well, yes. Also very good at diplomacy. So I will just say that I am happy with how this movie turned out and all of the screen time that everyone here got.
Sam, you didn't answer the question.
Exactly.
Oh.
All the way in the back.
Hi, my question is for Ricky Gervais. I'm a huge fan of your work with the podcast and the travel shows with Mr. Karl Pilkington.
Thank you.
And I was curious, if you were to do another season of An Idiot Abroad and pair Karl with any one of the Muppets, which Muppet would you pair him with to annoy him the most, and where would you send him around the world?
I reckon, Piggy. I reckon. He can't stand anything high maintenance and whingy and whiny. So that would be good. That would really. I mean, that would finish him off, I think. Or Bunsen. That would be good as well, because they look so alike. That would confuse him. He wouldn't know which one he was by the episode. That would be easy.
Here in the center on the right.
Hi, I'm Gloria. I'm from Time for Kids magazine. What do you guys think that kids will like most about this movie?
I think I have kids. So I will answer for you. I had, so as of this morning, I had 2. I think they're gonna like how funny the movie is, because I think there's a lot of jokes in the movie, and kids who are like 8, 9, 10 years old, they take a lot of pride in getting the jokes. It makes them feel big.
Yeah, it doesn't patronise kids. It doesn't aim at an audience. It aims high, and I remember when I was a kid watching the Muppets, I had older brothers and sisters, and they were laughing, and I sort of knew that it was cool as well as good for me. So I think kids relate to that. They like things that adults like as well. So
I, for one, do not get any of the jokes in this movie. I just want to say.
I have the IQ of a 7-year-old, and I loved this movie so much. I also love Juice.
Hi guys, Jordan with DisneyExaminer.com. I just wanted to go ahead and ask you, you guys are all comedy giants in different age ranges, of
Only
course.
from behind.
Oh, yeah. When you guys got to learn each other or got to work with each other on set, I mean, is there anything that for Tina, for Ricky, and for Ty that you guys were inspired from the Muppets? And for the Muppets, were you guys inspired by your human counterparts?
I was constantly inspired by the Muppets. I've never realized just how overrated I was until you go out and do a scene with somebody who's doing 8 things at once. Well, all I have to do is try to remember my words, which I failed at miserably.
No, again, you sell yourself short time, all right? You could remember
by the way, Sam,
most of those words, most of the time.
I'm happy to report Sam became my life coach right after we finished filming.
Yes. Well, it took a while, though. It took a while. For about half of the film, this man is such a great actor. He had me going. I literally thought he was a Frenchman. Yes, he was so convincing. I think his portrayal of a Frenchman will go down in history as the most convincing portrayal of a Frenchman in film.
I think you and I finally really bonded when we realized we had the exact same eyebrows.
Yes, it's true. Yes, and one day when I showed up to set without mine, he was kind enough to let me borrow his.
Yeah, I had surplus.
Over here on the right.
I read here in the back. Thank you, Winter, for Latin American. I have a question for Ricky. We see you in the movie carrying these big bags of money for the journalists, and at least I didn't get my share. And where is my kind of money? And do you care about reviews at all?
Well, yeah. I mean, you like it when they get it, but I mean, if you only believe the good ones and don't believe the bad ones, then I think that's a slippery slope. The best thing to do is, celebrate the people that like the film and know that it was made for them. I don't do anything for reviews or audience or awards or anything. You do it for yourself, really, if I'm being totally honest, and of course, and like-minded people. But it's crazy. If you're worried about pleasing everyone, you're not going to please anyone, and it'll send you mad. It'll drive you mad. And now, everyone's a journalist. Everyone's a reviewer. With Twitter and Facebook, it's like glorified graffiti. If you care about that, you might as well go around every toilet wall in the world and get offended when they mention you. It's so you mustn't. But yeah, I'd love it to get good reviews, and I'd be lying if I said otherwise. But you really mustn't worry about it. You really mustn't. It will drive you crazy.
On the left here.
But having said that, just say fucking nice things about it, please. There's says not for me, but for the kids.
Hi, Devin from mouseinfo.com. This question is for Kermit. Kermit, what are you most proud of?
Well, you may be surprised to hear this, but I'm actually stretching myself quite a lot as a dramatic actor in this thing. I did many scenes with Tina. One particular scene stands out to me. It was a closed set. It was the scene where she licks me. But I just want to clear it up right here with the press that Tina is happily married. Jeff was there during the shooting. Closed set.
My husband was there. He was being very kind of controlling and creepy.
Yes, but supportive.
Star 80 thing. But, and I had never done a scene like that before either.
No.
I mean, I had filmed a lot of weird stuff at home, but to have a whole crew there, I was nervous, and Kermit really put me at my ease. I did hallucinate for 3 or 4 hours.
A little bit, and that's odd because I had blood tests before, and I thought the toxins were low, but
no, it was
strange.
It was pretty
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to leave now. I'm pulling double duty here, both promoting this film and also working in hotel security. There's been a bit of a ruckus in the lobby. I have to go. I apologize. So, sorry.
Bye, Sam. Thank you.
My name is Silvio. I'm from Brazil, a global newspaper. My question is for Ricky. I know that you have been a manager for rock bands, for the Sweet rock band.
That's right,
yeah. And now you're portraying a band manager. How is it for you? When did you get from this experience for the role in the movie?
Oh yes, because I'm pretending to be a sort of sleazy LA agent. Not that there are any sleazy LA agents. To infiltrate the Muppets. It's quite nice playing a slime ball, a villain. I like that. I like playing flawed characters. You know, it's fun. It's sort of an exorcism. You're sort of saying, see, I'm not really like that myself, and I think that's I was just thinking about it. The Muppets did what I tried to do in extras sort of many years before, taking sort of famous people and making them make fools of themselves, and it sort of must have sunk in. And being on the flip side of it, like doing stuff like this and Curb Your Enthusiasm, you enjoy it and you want to be worse because you are sort of saying, look, I can't be like that or I wouldn't be joking about it. And I think that's why they want to do it in a way. So it was great fun for me, and I bonded with this guy immediately. I loved him. I've loved the Muppets for 35 years, and I love you. I love you. I love your nephew Robin. He's got no neck. I love frogs. It was my favourite until I met this guy. But I'm sorry to say this, but I think Constantine might be my best buddy.
No, you know what? I totally understand. You guys work closely together. I understand. I accept that. Yeah.
I have no comment on this.
Yay!
The show's not over, it's just begun. Hello, Kermit.
Well, hi there. Whoa, wait. What?
Hello, pig.
Which one is which?
Hello! No, I'm just kidding. I completely.
Yeah, this was all during the entire shoot. She confused us, but it kind of took some of the pressure off me.
Maybe a little bit at the beginning.
No, listen, you still don't know who we are. She just sees green. It's wonderful.
It's actually not bad.
Hi, Miss Piggy. We haven't actually met.
I know we didn't really do much together on the movie.
Refused to meet me. Nice. You look so pretty.
Oh, thank you, yes. I think you look pretty too.
Oh, thank you.
Until you're so far away. I'm sure you look pretty.
The next question is over here on the left in the second row.
Oh, I forgot there were questions. I thought we were just having dinner party.
For the non-Muppet performers over here on this side here,
I can't see anyone.
how, especially those of you with children, what did it do for your street cred to be able to tell everybody that you were working
with the Muppets, becoming close personal friends with the Muppets? Especially the kids, were they particularly impressed by you?
My kids are still so unimpressed by me. I'm banking this one. I've learned this already from any other kids project, that if I want to save my ego, I'm going to bank this. I'm going to pull it out in 5 years or something. But so far, it's 1 minute of why is Daddy on screen and 90 minutes of I'm hungry.
I haven't got children, but when I found out I was doing this film, I just went and hung around schools telling them just in playtime. So, hey kids, you don't know who I am yet, but you got the Muppets? Oh yeah, I went, well, what? You might. You're going to be impressed.
Let's wait right here.
Yeah, let's wait right. The whole day. You wait.
Soon.
I have 4 children now.
Wow.
And they're very excited to see the movie, but as far as me being in it, it's mostly like, oh, you're in the episode now. You be Queen Elsa. Either Queen Elsa or Mr. Smee.
In the center here on the left.
Here along the aisle. Good morning and congratulations. For Tina and Ricky, because in the past when you've been in this particular hotel, it's been hosting the Golden Globes and making fun of, jokes at the expense of celebrities.
Or winning Golden Globes.
Right, or winning them, exactly. Are you suppressing an itch right now to make fun of anyone? And Tina, since Kermit brought it up, the licking scene,
yes.
On your list of things, and I presume there is one that you want to lick before you die, how high was Kermit on that list?
You still do that list?
I've done lists, yeah. And I've done a bunch of them. I still have the 3rd rail of the New York subway. That's still on it. Anderson Cooper's neck. Still on the 3rd rail on the way. But it's pretty high up there. Yeah, so the Kermit was pretty high up there on the...
Yeah. It was good for me. It was great for me.
Sister.
Oh my word! And yes, I always have to curb the desire to make fun of celebrities. Yeah, I'm got about 12 in my head now, but I'm being nice. So yeah, I'll keep it to myself.
I have so many 12 Years a Slave jokes in my head right now. I can't. There were so many extra because it's so fun to write jokes about that.
Wasn't it?
It was so easy.
Yeah.
Here on the right.
Hi guys, my name's Sean from 2Fab. I was wondering if you could speak to the musicals and like how it was filming with the musicals compared to the regular dialogue. And Miss Piggy, how was it working with Celine Dion?
Well, working with Celine Dion, it was a pleasure, it was a joy for her, naturally. Yes, I'm only too happy to let her ride my coattails up to the Oscar stage. Yes, with what, it was a joy. We only spent a little time together, but it was very meaningful to her.
And I'm sorry, but this has to be the last question here in the center back.
I have a question for Miss Piggy. First of all, who are you wearing today? Because you look fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
And also, how did you like Vivienne Westwood's wedding gown?
Oh, well, first of all, this is an original Stefano from Hoboken. and then, what was the other Vivienne Westwood question?
Did you like your wedding gown?
Yes, Vivi. She made what a beautiful gown. Yes, made out of recycled plastic bottles. Took a little while to get over that, but as they say, something old, something new, something recycled, something or other.
Lucky for me, she didn't get to keep the wardrobe.
I could call Viv.
No, it's okay. I think it's probably disintegrated by now. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think the half-life for plastic is pretty long.
Now, what about the half-life for a pig-frog marriage? Not sure about that. I mean, come on. I'm not even sure it's legal. I don't even think it's legal.
Wait, in the movies, right?
Yeah.
When you get married and various, and you have children,
Yeah.
they're either pigs or frogs.
Yeah.
Why is there no sort of you know.
Well, you know,
Abomination?
We've never actually.
Some sort of fat, green, sort of snorkeling, hoppy, reading thing.
Snorting
you know what I mean? Haven't you worked that out yet?
I don't know. Well, we haven't actually consummated the experiment. We don't really know.
That was the filmmaker's visualization, all right?
It's a house of cards.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
I'm just thinking.
There he goes again.
And on that note, thanks everybody. So for those of you on the mics, hang on for a second. We'll get your recording devices in just a minute.
Sure. Block me first.
I was thinking the other day about, you know, your body and everything, because it is amazing, isn't it? How it works.
Oh, yeah.
Does the brain control you, or are you controlling the brain? I don't know if I'm in charge of mine.
Nor do I, There's Carl. a surprise. Nor do I, Carl.
No, do you know what I mean, though, by that?
Does the brain control you, or do you control the brain?
Like, don't you ever sort of think sometimes, say if you're making...
But you are the brain.
No, but I was making a shopping list, right? Going, right, I need some rice, kidney beans, and I thought I had everything, and I sort of was rolling up the paper, and then something went, oh, an onion.
Your brain did something that. Went an onion. Was it Suzanne?
No, well, my brain sort of went, you forgot something.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd forgot. I was
you are your brain.
No, but don't you understand? My brain was I was in control of my brain when I was writing down rice and kidney beans.
But you're not in charge of the onion. That's another part of the brain that's in charge of the onion.
The onion sector.
Yeah.
No, but I'd put the paper away, putting my coat on, ready to go and get the rice.
Yes, but your onion lobe kicked in.
What? So you put the paper in your pocket, you got the coat on, and then you just suddenly hear
Then
from
it
nowhere,
was just like
onion.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about that shopping list. It's in my pocket. I'm thinking, do I need my gloves? It's cold out.
Yeah.
Suddenly, onion, and it was like, oh yeah, onion. Yeah, I had to get the paper out. So what I'm saying is, who's in charge?
The brain, the mind. The brain is the... What are you doing? Who's in charge?
That's just you forgot the onion, and then you remembered the onion. You must have forgotten things in the past.
No, but not like that. Not where... Like, it just made me think, that was weird. Who reminded me of that?
You did.
Yeah, but I'm not...
No, you are your brain. It's not like there's you, then there's a brain, then there's an extra one looking down at it. Oh, the meta brain, the thing above it.
No, but your brain... How does your brain work? You give it information, don't you?
Well, it takes...
Do you mean you give it information?
Well, if I sat in a room with nothing, not feeding it anything, it wouldn't know anything.
No, but there's this thing that there's two yous. It's this thing that there's
Carl and Carl's brain.
Yeah, there's not a duality in this. If you go, come on, now think. That's the brain saying that to itself. It's not. There's not two people in there having an argument. Come on, brain. And the brain's going, oh, don't you start, I was thinking then. And the other thing's going, brain, onion. And the brain goes, Carl, onion. You are your brain. If you are anything, you are your mind, your brain, your collection of memories, your personality. You're not what you look like. Does that answer your question, Carl? What did you think then? You were thinking of a tortoise on a skateboard then when I did that last sentence, weren't you? Carl, you've studied the Bible over the last couple of days.
Well,
and you're going to give us basically the Bible abridged. Is that right? Just condensed.
Just that. You know, it's that time of the year when religion.
Well, let's do a sermon. Everyone settle down at home. Turn the radio up. This is Reverend Karl Pilkington with the history of the Bible.
All right. Thank you very much. Right. Well, thanks for coming. Starting off, you know, I mean, I started off at the beginning of the book. What have you?
The Bible, we'll call it for the sake of argument.
Right. There's quite a bit missing. It doesn't say about how sort of God was already about, so it doesn't go right back to the beginning.
Right. Okay.
God's already knocking about and that.
Yep.
Anyway, he made the world, right? He did all that, right?
Yeah.
He sorted out sort of sun in the day and that, so everything's light and you can see yourself about.
Right.
He did the stars and the moon for at night, right? I was thinking about that. If I was him, I probably would have just let it be day all the time rather than having two systems.
We're not criticising.
No, I'm not having a go. I'm just saying. I mean, it's easy now, isn't it, in hindsight, to sort of say, do you know what?
It's easy to really criticise him, but he was working.
He's sort of loosened the top. You just got it off. Yeah, sure. Yeah, he did a lot of the work. Yeah, cheers.
No, I'm just saying though, like they mess about with the clocks and that because of farmers getting up in the dark and that. If it was day all the time, less crime and that. I'm just saying it might have been worth an idea.
He missed a trick there, is what you're saying.
But he moves in a mysterious way, so you don't know why he's done that. He might be thinking something that your small brain can't really.
Fair enough. I'm not having a go. Like I say, I'm just reading it and thinking about it. That's what it's all about, innit? Education, get yourself thinking.
Yeah, go on.
Anyway, so he did all that. He made the sun and that, and then he said, "Oh, make some creatures and stuff." He made a load of birds, loads of different birds, creatures, animals, and that. Because with the world being so big, it's like if you buy a big house, you need more furniture, don't you?
Right.
So he made this, and he was like, "Oh, God, what am I going to fill it with?" So this is why he did all these.
Right. That's not actually in the Bible. You speculated there on the mind of God.
Well, I'm sort of just treating it like it's his big house,
right?
Isn't it? Okay. And he's filling it. He's making it look nice, different birds and what have you. Right? It's just my opinion. Like
it's making it sound like the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
So anyway, right? So he does all that, and he thinks, right, I'll make a little man and a woman.
Sure.
Who we all know as like Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Everyone knows their names, but at no point is their surname mentioned. Right?
Well, he's not going to have trouble with the post, is he?
So anyway, right, Adam and Eve are knocking about. God says to him, look, just enjoy yourselves and that, right? Do what you want, but I'll tell you this. I'm only telling you once, he said. He said, don't be eating fruit from that special tree.
Yeah.
So, they were like, alright, fair enough. He said, the tree that I'm talking about is the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's sort of made it a little bit worse, because it sounds good and that, and you're like, oh, knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, don't go in that door. Yeah,
it's that sort of thing. Instead of just sort of not telling them. Because I don't know, see the tree of knowledge, what it had on it by what I can work out, is, it's an apple tree, right? And it's pretty tempting, isn't it, to have a little cheeky apple, because I don't know what they were eating back then.
Right.
Do you know what they were getting by on?
No, I don't know.
Right, so anyway, so they were like, yeah, alright, whatever. Eve goes for a wander about.
Yeah.
Right? Killing time and that. Bumps into this snake.
Oh, yeah.
And, Snake said, alright, you got an apple, right? And, he was selling it, so he was going, it tastes good and that, right? And she's like, well, shouldn't really, but, you know, I've been told that I shouldn't eat that, because I think God said to her at some point,
get on with it. You're on page 1 at the moment.
This is absurd.
This is just unbelievable.
I know, but I'm just
Just get to the point. You're on page 1. You haven't moved on. Just okay, we know Adam and Eve. What have you learned?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, he was saying don't eat it, because it's dangerous.
Yeah, I know, we know. Get on with it. Just get on I mean,
But the thing is, people do eat things that are dangerous, don't they? Like, and pufferfish, even to this day, people are eating stuff that can kill them. Yeah. So it's not a threat, they're not that bothered, it's an apple, right? They're gonna have a little cheeky apple. Anyway, they eat it, right? God goes mental at them. He said, I told you not to do that, I've told you you can enjoy yourself and everything. You've gone against what I said. You've eaten the apple. Adam and Eve sort of got told off and what have you. They went off and had kids. That added extra pressure, a lot of arguments happened, and that's kind of part 1.
That is amazing. That is amazing. So, oh, you're an idiot. Really, you are an idiot.
Well, part 2 later then. If you get, I mean, I think I read that, like, a big chunk of ice fell off one of the ice, what do you call them?
Caps.
Ice caps. Something like, I think they said it's the size of the Empire State Building or something.
Right.
It snapped off and went into the water, and it's melted. And they said, oh, it's bad news, you know, something that size is melting. But the way I look at it, if something that size falls into the water, it's like a big ice cube, and it's gonna freeze it up again. You with me?
Not really, Carl.
Go on.
Right, you get a giant ice cube, the size of the Empire State Building, stick it in the water, it's gonna make, it's gonna stick back on again, innit?
Well, no, only if it freezes up again.
Yeah, well, it will freeze up, the water's gonna get cold again, because you've just put a giant ice cube in the water.
So when you put an ice cube in a drink, the drink doesn't freeze, does it?
No,
the
it's
ice
not.
melts.
If you put one the size of an Empire State Building in your glass of Jack Daniels, it's going to make it freezing.
It's not going in a glass of Jack Daniels, it's going in the ocean.
I know, but you see, I'm using my fables. Imagine a world.
Use your brain instead!
This is a bit of a bigger issue. We're always making more and more stuff, right, in the world. You know, big buildings, big planes, big boats and that. Will we ever get to a point where all this is too heavy for the world to handle?
Right, what error has he made there, Steve? What physical, scientific error has he made there with that question?
I can't begin to explain it.
Carl, we're not getting the rocks from other planets. It's already here. It's like having a big pile of books in a room and then moving them over to the other side of the room and build a thing going, oh, can the room take it? I'm building a lot of things out of these books.
What about plastic? Where's that come from?
Other chemicals that existed on the planet.
Yeah.
Do you see the point?
Hang on a minute, though. What about a little tree? You plant that as an acorn, it grows, Rick. That's bigger, that's more stuff.
Yeah.
Don't listen to him, Carl. He's patronising you.
What about acorns and that, though?
Right, they grow from minerals and proteins already in our atmosphere or in our the mass of Earth.
What about a cat, Carl? Right, you get it. It's a very tiny kitten, but it grows up and it's bigger.
Carl, he's doing it on purpose.
Elephants.
They're very small to begin with, but they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and so they get heavier and heavier.
Mind you, dinosaurs have gone.
You know, but you, but you know,
these are milestones in human evolution. The opposable, the forward-facing eyes, the upright. These are massive things in taking us out of the animal kingdom.
And one day, Carl, you'll walk upright.
But what do you mean about eyes facing forward? You mean before we got here, there was people whose eyes were looking in their head? I don't understand. Is that what you mean?
No, because when we got sort of binocular vision. Do you know Anne Frank?
That's all I know about Anne is. There's no point pretending here.
Anne!
That I know stuff.
Yeah.
Right,
well, tell us everything you know about Anne Frank.
She was in a cupboard.
Yeah, what else?
If she didn't do that, I wouldn't know about her, seriously. That's all I know about her.
Yeah.
So what did she do?
But how do you think we know about her cupboard because of her book, don't we?
But hang on, what in the bigger scheme of things, why was she in a cupboard?
I don't know.
Right.
I honestly don't know.
You don't know anything else about Anne Frank beyond the fact that, to quote you, she was in a cupboard.
Well, what's she done then? You tell me, why should I know more about her?
Firstly, I don't think she was in a cupboard.
She wasn't in a cupboard. She was in an attic.
Alright.
Yeah.
So what was she doing?
She was hiding from the Nazis. She was hiding from the Nazis.
But isn't that the first place they'd look? Sort of work from the top down.
Carl, they weren't specifically looking for Anne Frank.
They weren't going, where is she?
Where's Franker?
If she gets that book out, we are in the deep shit. We've got to stop the book.
And then we went and had a look at the volcanoes and that. They've got 36 of them to look at.
How many did you look at before you realised that pretty much, you've seen one volcano, you've seen them all?
Probably about 6 or 7.
Really? Yeah. And then when you got to the 8th, you thought, no, I know what this is going to be, Suzanne. This is going to be like a mountain with a hole in the top.
Yeah.
Really?
But it happened years ago as well. It's like, just keep a couple, fill the rest in, tidy it up.
Fill the rest in!
Yeah, no,
Well, getting some builders.
No, seriously though.
Okay, 4 million tons of concrete, please.
They're an absolute death trap.
Yeah, what do you mean, fill them in? Do you know what a volcano is?
Just a hole, isn't it? That's happened.
Well, it's more than the hole. It's more a portal to the magma in the centre of the Earth.
Back in 1730 it happened, and they still haven't sorted it out.
Well, when you say it happened, volcanoes were made a lot longer ago than 1730.
No, but the one that did Lanzarote in.
Right.
Sort it out.
What would you suggest? How can they fill it in? It's joined. It's all joined.
No, but what I'm saying is,
the big plates of the Earth are all joined. All the magma's joined.
With the Trade Centre thing, that happened. They cleaned it up, sorted it out, they've moved on. That's what I'm saying. Whereas Lanzarote have just gone, leave it. It happened back in 1730.
You misunderstand me. How, in the name of God, can you fill in a volcano? You ignorant
No, but it's not just the holes. They've actually left the lava everywhere. That's what I mean. It's not just the big holes. There's lava everywhere.
But it's molten rock. They can't just pick it up like they're like a carpet.
Put it in the holes. The holes are there ready. Just push it all in. That's what I'm saying. You know, like the monkeys peeling potatoes.
Right. That's never happened. They go and put nuts in the salt water to salt the nut.
Whatever.
How does that get to peeling potatoes? Because in your head, they were working in a canteen.
Making chips.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It doesn't matter what the food is. I'm just saying how they know how to sort of prepare
I
that
love
food.
the fact that you don't care what the fact is. When you're discussing facts, that's all that matters. Otherwise, on Mastermind, they just go, who wrote Much Ado About Nothing? Dickens? Yeah, close enough, whatever, someone did. The fact is what matters.
Yeah, but with that question, that's got a straightforward answer. What I'm telling you is the way that animals work. If it's a potato or a nut, it's a foodage.
And once again, I return you to my question as before. What's your point? What point were you making?
It's either a chimpanzee with a typewriter with an infinite amount of time. He would eventually, by definition, mathematically, type everything ever possible. Okay, or it's an infinite amount of chimps with typewriters, and one of them will type it first time.
But already, that's sort of that's not right. You either need to have.
What do you mean? What? You mean employment laws? What do you mean it's not right?
Let's hear him out, please.
Okay.
If it's one monkey,
yeah,
with a typewriter that's got loads of ink in it and that, right? At least it knows what it's done in the past.
It's not.
Keep going.
Cry.
If you've got a load of monkeys, it's like if you have too many. What's that saying about too many chefs?
Too many chimps spoil the soup.
Right. Well, it's the same thing. It's like, well, I didn't tell you to put salt in it. I was going to put salt in it, and it messes it up. Whereas if it's just one, they know what's gone on. So what I'm saying is,
just leave him go. I can't be bothered.
I want to hear. I want to hear the rest.
This blows my mind. He doesn't know what this does to me. It's a mathematical problem.
I want to hear the rest.
well, it's just I just don't think it will happen.
What do you mean you don't think it'll happen? Infinity works it out for you by definition.
But not Shakespeare.
Oh! Shut up! You idiot!
Rick, do you know what he said to me? I said to him, I explained it to him, I said, you've got an infinite number of monkeys, infinite number of typewriters, they will type the complete works of Shakespeare. He said, have they read Shakespeare?
You're an idiot! Play a record,
said, no,
I'm not having this conversation. When are the exams? June?
Something like that, yeah.
We'll try and register next week, and I reckon you can get an A or B.
In history. I'm busy.
In history. No, don't worry about it, it's just easy. You get your Brody's notes. If Heat magazine, they love you, Carl. They could probably sort something out. They could probably pay for a tutor. They got a lot of money. They sell a lot of magazines.
I mean, it is always, almost always, and you found that out. I discovered this. It's always the Tudors and Stuarts. There's no fear for that. They're not coming up. Now, what do you know? What do you already know about them? You must already know stuff about Henry VIII and Elizabeth.
No, because it's too long ago to even get interested in. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
Is that why you didn't?
To it.
Okay.
The Anderson thing. It was like, God, you know, I bet my mum and dad were in an Anderson shelter. You know, this is interesting.
What, when they?
Oh, my granddad would have like had something to do with this. But the Tudors, it's like I don't know even if they had a family back then.
Play a record. Is that it? Is that the answer?
Yeah, just cavemen in front of dinosaurs and that. They sort of went, oh, and then.
Well, it wasn't cavemen in front of dinosaurs, was it? Because cavemen weren't alive when dinosaurs were alive.
There was a couple knocking about.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
There was a crossover point, surely.
Not dinosaurs like
15 million. Was the probably the Ice Age. There were still big reptiles.
I think it's fairly common knowledge that the dinosaurs did not exist.
Well, who gave the dinosaurs the name?
Well, no. Well, no.
Who gave the dinosaurs the names?
Hang on. Here's something I've learnt. Remember?
Go on.
Back to like show 4 or whatever.
Go on.
What is it?
4.
The flea can jump over the London Eye.
No, it can jump the equivalent of if it was a 6-foot man. It can jump about 6 inches high. A flea cannot jump over the London Eye.
Yes, it can. Yeah, it can.
And
tell your kids that.
God.
Remember?
A flea can jump over the London Eye. And an ant can lift 3 Volvos.
But we've talked about this before, haven't we? about the cloning thing.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But I don't think it matters, because at the end of the day, right, you might look like some other kid, but it's the way you're brought up that will change your features and the way you are, you know, your personality.
If you lie, you get a long nose, don't you?
Well, no, but listen, right, because I remember when we, you know, I was growing up on this estate.
This is gonna be good. Go on.
No, it's not. It's just an example of how this doesn't work.
Go on.
So we don't need to worry, sort of thing.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
So I'm growing up on this estate, and there was this woman about 4 houses down, right? Who's a bit rough. All right.
Didn't fancy her.
Oh God, no. Right, but she had a
Why?
baby.
Well, tell me about her first. I'm interested in this woman. Why was she?
It was a very.
Like being a man in a dress.
I mean, I didn't grow up in a posh house or anything, and I'm not saying that if you live in a bit of a rough house, you're a bad person.
What does she look like?
But anyone can
tattoos,
clean up.
Look like Tony Green with a fag on.
They didn't clean up much, right?
Oh.
Which, even if you've not got a lot of money, you can still try and make a place look nice.
Yeah.
Right? But she didn't, and a kid used to take a horse into the house.
Sorry. Whoa, Neddy. What do you mean a kid used to take a horse into the house? Where did he get a horse?
Must have nicked it from somewhere. Must have done.
You've seen a horse in it? No.
What, is that from outside the saloon round the corner?
Yeah, was it just tied up with a bit of
right?
Oh, that's great. Did Big Jake come looking for it?
I'd been out.
Oh. Right, sorry, let me get this. This was before the lynching stopped or after.
Where did he get a horse from? What do you mean he must have nicked it? His mum said, where'd you get that from? I bought it. Alright then. But keep it out the kitchen.
I don't want you going Catlin rustling.
Where did he get a horse from, Carl? And how long did he have it for? Was he leading it or riding it? Mum, open the door, I can't stop!
I can't stop it. Open the patio door as well,
Looks like we got us a runaway. What do you mean?
I don't know, but the thing is, they couldn't afford to buy one because they're not cheap. So I'm just guessing. Maybe that's wrong of me. But I think...
He had a horse?
Yeah, right. So
that's why the family didn't have any money, they'd spend it on the horse.
No, I don't think, that's what I'm saying, I don't think they would have bought it. So anyway...
Yeah, it's wise to whisper, Carl, in case they're listening.
Yeah, and
they could be in the room next door.
It's not buying it, it's keeping it as well. Oh,
so I was like in the car with my dad coming into the avenue, and you used to have to drive down it to turn round and and you know, sort of go back to our house.
You had the traditional method of transport.
And the horse was in the lounge.
Reading a paper.
Just like walking around.
Oh God! What?
And when I was doing, I tried to earn myself some money once by flogging little flowers in plastic cups.
What? This is genius. It just keeps coming. What do you mean you're trying to flog little flowers? What do you mean?
Wait. Let's play a record. Let's play a record and come back to this, because this story's going to just unravel and unravel. It's going to go on for hours. Let's play a track,
Carl. It gets deeper and deeper. It's like an onion, isn't it?
We've created a whole world here where there's a man living with a horse.
Just walking around the lounge.
I mean, I come from the West Country, I've never heard anything like that.
I just think of a big sort of like orange carpet and a rediffusion telly and this horse going, I'm fed up in here.
Exactly.
This is really...
I am not taking the rubbish out again.
Yeah.
Right, play a record. Let's have Velvet Underground. We've got that lined up.
Oh,
yeah, the classic from the first album, I'm Waiting for the Man. Let's come back to the horse in a second.
Little flowers in pots. What do you mean?
Classic first album, Velvet Underground and Nico, which apparently peaked at a disappointing 171 in the US charts.
Think of that.
And that's obviously Lou Reed, the Velvet Underground, and Waiting for the Man.
Yeah, great track. So, we were talking, we were doing White Van Man, and we got onto,
genetically modified babies, but
and
somehow
then Carl started telling a story about someone with a horse, and then he got onto, he was trying to make money selling flowers. Just do the flowers briefly.
Well, hang on, I just want to recap slightly. So there was a family, and who had the horse in the family?
It was...
Because you lived on an estate in Manchester.
So the mother was a right pig, apparently.
Well,
I don't know if that's
you
relevant.
don't need to go that far.
But
what I'm trying to do is, like, make a picture for you so you understand.
What does she look like? Who did she look like?
Bit of a, and no disrespect to her, bit like Pauline Quirk.
Quirky, yeah.
Right?
Okay. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be Pauline. Did she have any tats? Did she have any tattoos?
I've never got that close to her.
Okay, alright.
So who had the horse? Was this her son or her husband?
No, her daughter.
Her daughter had stolen a horse?
Yeah, from, I don't know where, there was I think it was some stables down the road or something.
And they kept the horse in the house with them?
They kept it in the house.
Did they
didn't
get
have
caught?
it for long.
No.
So, and you said you were in the house one day and you saw the horse in there?
What happened was, I was, they did this thing at school about raising money for charity, right? For some local charity. And they said you can do anything to raise money, and they came out with all these ideas, and I thought, that's good.
What was the charity?
Well, I don't know. I thought forget the charity.
Yeah, that's just a good money
here.
making idea.
So,
you're a charity.
So, so I asked me mum for some, cause she used to have a lot of flowers around the house.
Sure.
I said, can I just take some snippings off them? And, I'll go and buy some plastic cups. And, got some soil out of the garden, planted the bits of plants in them.
Yeah.
Got a tray.
Yeah.
Had about 25 plants on it, selling them for 25 pence each.
Excellent. Did you sell any?
Yeah, so loads.
So did you just cut, you didn't just cut them and stick them in the soil?
Yeah, they wouldn't have survived.
Oh.
But I think people sort of thought, well, good on him for trying. But anyway, so I went round to theirs, because I thought their house could do with a bit of colour and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a bit rough. So as I went
The horse went, thank God for that breakfast. They've been feeding me kitty cat.
So I got up to the door, and they opened the door, and it was one of them houses where no carpet.
Yeah, a horse in the living room.
You know.
We've all been there.
And the horse was walking around the living room.
Oh.
I looked quite happy and everything, because I always say that about animals.
Black Beauty
right?
was on. Yeah.
Well, think about it, right? If you were a horse, where would you rather be? In a little wooden hut with a load of hay? Or in like a house with a
central heating,
3-piece suite, and a telly and that?
Telly and that!
No, but I was saying this the other day.
And an Atari.
Right? I was walking through London the other
Commodore
day.
64, rubbish.
Exactly.
Walking through London with Suzanne, right?
Yeah.
And you know, like homeless people always have dogs. And she said, oh, I hope she looks after it. I said, that dog is happier than most dogs.
Right.
Because people always walk past and give it a pat on the head.
Yeah.
It's with its owner all the time.
Yeah.
It's out in the open, it's not locked up in a house.
Yeah.
It doesn't
You know what I
eat,
mean?
but other than that.
No, it does eat though, they're always alright. So that's what I was saying, I think this horse was doing alright for itself. Do you know what I mean?
Well, not many horses have got their own house.
Exactly.
For a start, yeah.
But anyway, that's what
by
we
the
were talking
by.
about. Yeah, so anyway, this family, who's a bit, what we were talking about, it was about cloning.
Genetically modified kids and all that stuff, yeah.
Right, now what I'm saying is, you could say, you know, right, Steve, you could have a baby, right? And Ricky could see it and say, God, I want one that looks like that.
Yeah.
Right?
It could happen, Rick.
So
come on, work with him.
So you take it to the doctors, and I don't know what they do. They inject it with something or whatever.
Yep, that's how it's done.
Yeah.
And get a little baby, and there it is. It looks the same. Now the thing is, you separate. You both go off and do your own things.
Yep.
Right. Now, you look at Stephen. This is you look after your baby.
Yeah.
You treat it well. You give it good food and
I'm
that,
a good dad.
all the vitamins and stuff.
Yeah.
Ricky just gives it cheese. Right. So then it changes its looks. It goes a bit fat. You know, it gets tired easily, and that sort of thing. Now, when this family...
Why am I just feeding a baby cheese?
Right, this family had a horse in their house.
Yeah.
They had a little baby. And my mum went round and said, you're not going to believe this, but it's a beautiful looking baby. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know. And the weird thing is, it was a good looking kid, but as time went on, they didn't really look after it. And I'm not saying like abusing it, but it used to run around, it used to play out till like 10 at night.
Yeah.
It used to chase cars.
Right.
It was a bit...
Did it have hooves?
Yeah, no. Chase cars!
Right.
What sort of kid chases cars? Oh, God.
No.
Was it called Rover?
The weird
Did it catch sticks?
It's Liam, it was called, right?
Right.
Now, the weird thing is, it was a good looking kid, but as time went on, and all that, like, not eating properly and its hair was all patchy.
It's not Liam Gallagher, is it?
And chasing cars and that, and it became an ugly kid.
It's definitely Liam Gallagher.
And that's what I'm saying, right? You can clone all you like, but at the end of the day, it's how you brought up.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Well, life.
Wow. That was a hell of a point. Oh, God.
But am I right?
You're always right, Carl.
Welcome to the 67th Annual Golden Globe Awards. And now please welcome your host for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Gervais.
I want to do a proper job this time. I don't think I went far enough. Obviously not, because they invited me back. So I'm going to do it again, do a proper job, and I guarantee they will not invite me back. I honestly can't wait to do it. I'm going to go out there, guns blazing, like it's the end of the world. Just looking at all the faces here reminds me of some of the great work that's been done this year by cosmetic surgeons.
The 7 wonders of the world, truly mankind's greatest achievements. But there is one man who sees them differently.
Are they the oldest thing on the world?
They're not the oldest thing on the world.
If that was on my road, the council would go, get that down. It's a death trap.
I'm going to mention Idiot Abroad on Science. I'm going to mention the Ricky Gervais Show returning on HBO. I'm going to mention that I'm in the Muppet movie, Wind in the Willows. Steve's got a fridge freezer for sale. Any single women?
Not necessarily single. Not necessarily single.
Yeah. He's gonna steal Angelina away from Brad.
Oh.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be Brad when this guy walks in the room.
See, if I was her, I'd rent another baby then, rather than... Because what would come out? You and her.
What do you mean, what would come out?
Jesus.
Something magnificent.
That would be on the Science Channel.
I've had a couple. I'm not going to lie to you. Now listen up. I'm not going to do this again anyway. I want to do either such a bad job, I'm not invited back, or such a good job that I don't want to do it again. I'd like to say, you know, I'm better second time around, so I should leave it there if I do a good job or a bad job. I mean, but who knows? I mean, it's once a year and it's so much fun. It is an honour to be here in a room full of what I consider to be the most important people on the planet. Actors. They're just better than ordinary people, aren't they?
Would you say you've ever been brave? Because I was thinking before we did this, I can't think of a time when I've ever been brave. I don't think I've been cowardly. I've just never been in a situation where I needed to be brave, particularly. I've always managed to avoid fights, conflicts.
Yeah.
See, when I was in Salford, I'd nipped to Greggs to get a pasty. I heard some bells going off. I came out, just thought, oh, I don't know what that is. Went over to the car, sort of thinking, oh, I can't wait to have this pasty when I get home. Cup of tea, nice cup of tea, maybe a bit of bread.
I love the fact that his head was just filled with food because he was buying food and thinking food. When he's eating, I'm thinking I'm eating food. Just one big globular mess of food cells in his head for the duration of the food experience.
I can remember that food thought going on now, and it was probably like 15 years ago. But I remember how happy I was. I'm out at the Greggs, I've got what I want, I'm on my way home, this pie's hot, it's going to be hot when I get home, it's going to be a nice cup of tea, bread.
These are the things you save, and yet you forget really important facts.
Yeah, he doesn't know why wars are happening, but he does remember this.
Yeah, but listen, this is why I remember it. Like I said, you forgot the bit that I said. A bell going off. I don't know what's going on there. I'm walking over the road, put the key in the car, I turn round, bloke comes running out the post office, obviously the bell's gone off, he's got a big shotgun, balaclava on, and he stops and looks at me. He's there with a big gun in his hand, and he's looking at me. And I wasn't scared. I just was thinking, does he want me pie? I remember thinking, if he said, I want that, I'd have to give it up.
So a man with a gun.
I told Suzanne, she said no, he was probably thinking about nicking your car. He's got
What,
his
he
key.
didn't have a car ready? He came,
No,
he had the balaclava, the gun, and he goes, fuck me, I forgot the car.
In the end, he sort of ran off down the back alley.
I love the fact that he looked over at you for a split second and you thought he might be interested in your
Was
pie.
there other people around? Were you sure this happened and you weren't reading a comic book?
No, it happened.
And so he looked you in the face. He saw
through
you.
his balaclava, he made eye contact, I looked at him, everything sort of stopped for a minute, and then he just sort of legged it off down the back alley.
And what did you say to the police when you obviously went?
I didn't. I just went.
Well, you were witness to the crime.
Have me pie. Like I said, it was warm. It's not going to stay warm forever, is it?
But when it was on Crime Watch a few weeks later,
No, it wasn't. That's what was weird. I said to Suzanne, "Oh, let's watch like Granada Reports tonight. See if I'm on the telly or anything." Nothing. Didn't even get reported.
Why would you be on the telly if you just ran away?
Just didn't say CCTV or something like that. If I was involved in it, they went, "This happened today in Salford, outside Greggs. Are you this man with the pie?" I wanted to make sure I was well out of this one. Because Suzanne sort of said, "Oh, should you get involved?" But you shouldn't get involved because then I'm at risk, aren't I? Nobody was killed.
We're back to bravery again, aren't we?
Yeah, it is bravery.
Go on then.